Happy Friday. I'm just coming out here in the wee hours of the morning, 3 a.m. hour. 3 a.m. hour. So I'm gonna see who comes on for a few minutes before I give my message. Yes. Greetings. It is Friday, November 6, 2020. And I'm just coming on here, been guided by my spirit, by higher self, guided by Mother, Father, God to come on here just to, how would I say it, to help anyone, to assist everyone and all of us here on here to keep remembering the divine purpose and why we're here, what it means, interpret the energy and the data, and also what it means in terms of this timeline with how we're embodying the Christ consciousness. That's it. So whatever time frame that I come on, that's where Spirit leads me in whatever I'm going to say as far as how we're going to be over understanding this process, because it is a process. Okay, it's not going to be where we wake up and then all of a sudden, bam, everything is just in place. This is about us being able to greetings, Roar Angel, if that's your name. So this is where we are allowing ourselves to over understand how to interpret the data, how to interpret the energy while everything is happening in the physical realm. It is very, very important. I'm there using the remote for the TV trying to turn down the music. But anyway, it is an exodus. If you hear Bob Marley in the background, this is the exodus. This is the moment we've been waiting on, why we're here in the physical realm. And while we're in the physical realm, we're also having to interpret the energy from within the mind consciousness, the mental space, the emotional space, and the physical space. So right now, what you'll be feeling is anxiety, fears are going to be coming up to the surface. There's also going to be physical things that you're going to be feeling happening with your body. So all of this is a part of how we're embodying the Christ consciousness. So I do want you to know, bear in mind, not everyone is going to be having the same experience. Not everyone's going to have the same experience. Not everyone is going to be able to understand what you're experiencing. So that's why I know why I'm here, to be able to be in the flow of explaining or interpreting the data where it's coming and continuing on that format, the platform, however we want to word it, where it's not intertwined with everything that had descended in consciousness or anything that had been distorted before. So anyway, I have been going through so much stuff with my body for the past several days, okay? And it's all tied into the election. It's tied into what's happening in government. So, I know that there's some people who, they'll talk about, oh, I don't need to be a part of that. I don't need to pay attention to that. And yeah, I know there's memes and jokes and all that stuff. But let me tell you something. This is one of the most critical conjunction, the most critical times, I would say, to why the politics, why the government, why everything that's happening on the world is imperative to where you are in what's pushing through as you're giving birth within yourself through Mother Earth, okay? Because Mother is giving birth through us. I was having lots of enlightened conversations with Jen yesterday. I wish I can remember everything that I possibly say when I'm receiving downloads, because as soon as someone says something to me, it's like the information is just flowing and flowing and flowing. So I'm going to do the best that I can for whatever I'm being guided to speak on this and to what it means. And I was giving an interpretation of the mother, see, because those of us, you don't have to necessarily be a mother to know what it's like to be protective, right? And then there are some of us who knows what it's like when we would like to feel protected and we would like to feel safe and we would like to feel that we can be in a space of freedom, and also that there isn't anyone or anything that is abusing anything and all the things that represent our own personal freedom and sovereignty. But also when it comes to the mother is going to be protective over her children. The mother is going to be protective over her territory. just as much more than a male would or a masculine. Because you think about the genealogy when it comes to animal instinct, like the lions. It is the female lion that protects her cubs, and she will do anything to protect her cub, no matter what. So when I think of the politics, so those of you out there who are making jokes and everything about the politics, and oh, you woke people think you're so woke because you went and voted and this and that, and you're in the system, and when you're in the system, you're giving consent. Well, let me tell you something, okay? Because I'm gonna keep it real. What I'm giving myself of, or anyone else that I can speak in that authority for in terms of this and what it means, what it really means, is that the same system that was created, that kept us descended, that kept us in bondage, is the same system that we go into in order to infiltrate, to bring us back into that true freedom and power. So the part of ourselves that have been programmed and tied into the concept of let's just bypass, let's just not look at it, let's just let it solve itself, it's not going to work, because that's why we're here in the physical body. We're here in the physical body to take action, to shift and to alchemize and to push through, because this is what pushing through and giving birth is. So if a mother sees her child in danger, that her child runs into a building with burning fire, or if the child is going to run across the street where a car is coming to hit that child, the mother's not going to think about, let me call the police or let me make somebody else take care of it. The mother going to go out and catch our child and get that child and go into the danger, into the fire, into something, in order to what? To save that child, so the child can be safe again. So what we're doing, as I give it in an interpretation that almost anyone, that even if the dummy, can understand, because what I'm realizing too, what's coming through with the politics and the government and what's going on with Trump and his behavior and all that stuff, is that he's shining light on those who are ignorant as well, because that's where how he operates. And how spiritual to me is that that timeline, that split, has to do with the consciousness of where the intelligence, the divine intelligence, is moving us through the layers of what is in separation, and in separation of the thought process. Because remember, everything that occurred during the time of when the descension took place, and what happened is the physical body went through disruption through the DNA, and that DNA itself is how we are connected in this physical body. As we are ascending higher, or into the realm of that higher consciousness, in where we are we're dismantling the attachments that we have with our bodies in terms of this consciousness. And so what's happening right now when it comes to the voting and what's going on, of course, what's mirroring back is that when someone is accusing someone of doing something, it's because that's what mirrors within them. And they can't stand the fact that the power is returning back to us through the people, because we're the ones that are bonded together. We're the ones that went on the line. We're the ones that came out with our children, whether we're in wheelchair, doesn't matter where we are, that we're saying enough is blood clot enough. And that's it. So if you find yourself in a position now where you are literally separating yourself from others that you now see, because you can't ignore it, you can't unsee the truth right now. Okay? And you think for yourself, you got to think and feel, what's more important for me right now? Is it the sacred space that I choose to be in within my union? And remember, the union is not just a union between you and just another separate individual. The union is the union of yourself, the relationship that you can now have with yourself in that personal freedom, where you're no longer feeling that dogmatic type of energy within yourself and feeling like you can't be yourself, or how you've disliked yourself because of something that has come across to you, because, oh, you know, I can't be like this and I got to be this way because I got to please, and the people please, the codependencies, the narcissism, the abuse of power. You know, it goes in layers. It goes in layers. And so we think about now how everything has finally shined light onto those who carry those energies, that's connected to Trump, that's connected to not want to let go of the power that they've had over the people. So when I go back into the lineage and the DNA of the natives, the Native Americans, the tribes, the indigenous, okay, and this connection goes and spreads abroad, far and wide, okay? It's not just in America. So whatever's happening now, the soul evolution, it is in the system itself of government and politics, yes, but it is also in the system of the overall energy of what we are transforming back to that place where we are safe again, where we can feel safe. And that takes guts, and it takes to stay in that power, and it takes speaking up, and it takes penetrating back, and it takes pushing forward. When the mother, if anybody, any mothers who know what it's like, I gave birth 5 times naturally to 4 sons, 4 male children, and 1 daughter. And every one of them I had natural childbirth, and I had to push my children out. Okay, I had no C-section. I pushed my children out, and it was painful. And I had to get to the point where, however, my children were coming through that birth canal, through that darkness. Okay, that's what is happening. And as it is moving through the layers from the cervix, and the baby's getting ready to crown. The baby's getting ready to crown, and you see, and the head is getting ready, to show itself, and you can see itself. That's the motivation that the mother has, because now you know that no matter how much pain you're feeling, and even like your physical bodies, you might be having secretions coming through your body. I was going through skin itching and burning. I also had burning in my right eye was happening yesterday. Okay, I slept for long hours. I woke up, I felt the intensity. It's very intense. The energy is very, very intensified. And that energy self that's intensified is just like what it's like when a mother is giving birth. And it is painful. But the beauty about it is that when the mother is going through the pain, she's reminded by those around her, the support that we have with each other. We are reminded that the baby is coming, and that's the motivation. So think about what we're giving birth to. Do not allow yourself to be caught up in the rhetoric of the ignorant ones, the ones who are making fun and poking right now. They're also trying to incite the wars with others, upon others, that's coming through from Trump. It's like there's a fear that people have to call his name, like they think it's okay for us to take that bullyism. Well, let me tell you something. They can go fuck off for all I care. You hear me? Be vigilant, be mindful of where you go, and keep that consciousness of peace and knowing that we are taking back our power. That's the focus. We're taking back the position of power, and it starts from within yourselves. So we don't have to use weapons. We don't have to use the words. You see, the words itself is what kept us trapped in that system. All these little rhetoric words, oh, you don't do this, oh, look at that, oh, you this, oh, you that. And all of that is where it started from, the mind manipulation, you see? And that mind manipulation itself is what had us feeling as if we were abandoned by God. You probably would have felt that, or feeling unworthy and feeling as if we're not doing everything right. Then they wrapped it up into religion and spirituality and reward and punishment. Oh, let's just turn the other cheek and let's keep the peace, and we're all one, and we're all a part of this together. No, we're not. We are not a part of this together. So this is the time. This is the messages I'm hearing coming from Spirit, that this is the time where we're rewinding, we're moving within that karmic cycle itself, because Saturn is in Capricorn, and Saturn in Capricorn is what was prevalent when it comes to those old structures. Remember, these old structures go back from a long time. This is even way beyond Atlantis, way beyond. And it's the energies of those that were not able to interpret the data. They were not able to receive the Christ light, okay? And so when Mother gave birth through to us, we incarnated with the purity of that light, okay? And the purity of that light, when it comes together with the pairs itself, is what gives birth to that golden age, that golden time frame. This is where we don't have diseases of the body. We don't go through elements of age. And you can notice and look at the ones who hold those energies of the manipulation and the toxicity, that they're going to look like they're starting to age. Another thing that I'm noticing and observing, those who are in that frequency where they're attached to that, they're not even able to formulate this consciousness and this intelligence. They're not able to even come through with how they're able to interpret it and speak it. So what I notice is that when they're talking, it sounds like a bunch of gibberish and garbage, like it don't make no sense. So like somebody that they lack intelligence, and it's almost like they can't read, okay? And this is by no means anything to do with judgment or anything to do with saying whether or not someone's better than the other, because that's another thing that ties into the programming, because they try to come across like as if you say something, then you're not being loving and spiritual. And I can tell them again that they can go fuck off and suck a dick. Okay, seriously, this is a time where we do not take or tolerate anyone trying to come with rhetorics, games, tricks, word mind manipulation, because of the fact they know that the time is up. That energy that's moving through the layers of people, and they talk about, oh, let's be in love and light, oh, let's this and this, specific words that was used to manipulate and to keep you descended. And that dissension itself is what is infiltrating through your body, that is also linked to your ancestral DNA line. So whatever is going on that you're feeling in your body, that, you know, even though, see, they'll say, oh, don't stay in 3D, don't look at the news and the TV. Well, guess what? If you're doing that, you're doing what you are meant to do, to be, as you pierce and go through the darkness, okay? It is going through the darkness. It is penetrating through those layers. Like I said, when the mother is going to save her child, she's not thinking about the danger. She's not thinking about the darkness. She's not thinking about the fears. She's feeling the fear, because the fear and the adrenaline that you feel with it is what gets you back into the space of where you know who you are as love. Okay? And so even if you don't feel like you're in a happy space, you know what? That's okay. Because right now is the energy of mother that you will feel now pulsating through your system, the cells of your body. And that's the cells of your body that's connected to mother, that's connected to the true Christ, is what's shining light onto those who cannot interpret. Okay? And the ones who can interpret it are the ones who are the fallen angels. They are the ones that they profess themselves to be gods, right? And they use the words and they merge and mixed and duped and tricked, especially a lot of the masculine, okay? And that's why it was this information that I was already seeing in the layers from the time when I started on my twin soul path, that I saw where the separation of my masculine was when they were pulled and lured into that frequency. Come on, let's try this out. You know, it starts out very subtly, and it could be that energy that you have already attracted from friends, associates, people in your family, could be your children. So look at it as the same political system, the same thing. Whoever they vote for, you know, you can say, oh, it doesn't matter who they vote for. Guess what? A blood clot matter, because that is how the Holy Spirit is giving you the tool. We have tools. You have tools that are used. That's where the intelligence comes in. We have tools that we use in order to see through another layer, through your third eye that opens up, and you feel. It's like having invisible tentacles, because all of that part of who you are as a divine being was shut off. It was closed off. You see, so use intelligence to the tools that the Holy Spirit Divine Mother is giving you now, to what you connect to, so that way you are able to see through the layers in the physical realm and pay attention to how your body is responding to this, how your body is responding to the energy, how your body is responding to whether you're waiting for the results or you're not waiting for the results, and understand where it is taking you through this breakdown. And it's the breakdown of the cellular parts of yourself that has been connected to these timelines. Okay, that is also attached to fear. It could be with fear. It could be with dharma. It could be with control. It's tied to slavery and bondage. Okay, it's all tied to slavery and bondage, because that slavery and bondage itself is why you feel the heaviness. That's the reason why you feel like, oh, I'm able to move forward, but then it's like I'm still feeling stuck. And you're going to feel the heaviness now, because this is a part of the cycle. You're going to feel like you're moving in waves, and you're going to feel like you're moving in and out in how you are getting to that place of what you are receiving, okay? Because when we're in that place of receiving, we're receiving, and then what happens is that Sometimes 9 times out of 10 we receive what we receive, and then it doesn't stay, because you have it, then you don't have it. You have it, then it goes away. You have it, you're in it, and then you're interrupted. It's the interruptive cycle is what we are ending. Okay, that's what we're moving through. So everything that's going on now with what they're trying to bully and say that there's cheating going on, it's because that's what them do. That's what they do. They're going to try to make you look bad. They try to make the black man look bad. They always try to make it look like as if we're doing something bad and wrong and it's evil. It's the same programming that runs in the layers. Try to make it look like as if you did this and I did that, this, that. Now's the time to tell them to shut the entire fuck up. Now's the time to rebuke that energy, to rebuke and to stay strong and to stay empowered. Because the power of all of that collective consciousness is what's moving now into how we're giving birth to the Christ, okay? Because this is how the return of the Christ is what? Through the fire, 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 okay? So that fire is still within you, and is to allow it to burn through all of the layers of everything that has been connecting to you, that represents being in bondage, that represents what you have felt when you have felt torn away from something, because the energy itself that has ripped you away has ripped us away, especially as mothers, when you felt as if your child has been ripped away from you, your spouse has been ripped away from you. That separation, the information that had come in as data that came through from the fallen, angels, as they call them, and they like to wrap up these little lovely names to try to make it look like as if they mean you well, and they come in disguises. It has nothing to do with the color of the skin. It has nothing to do with the culture. Okay, it could be male, female, black, white, Chinese, African, no matter. And that's why this is the time to use discernment to keep your that part of your light body activated. You're going to be ascending and descending, so you may go into 3D mode. And then they say, oh, don't be in 3D, because that's not how you ascend. Again, tell them to suck out your blood. I'm so serious, because you see, that is also one of the tricks they play for you not to be empowered. We are in the physical realm to embody the Christ, and that means that you're going to go through the trenches. And that means that you're going to feel, you're going to be activating, you're also releasing all of that old DNA that has been connected through you, through your children, your family. Don't look and expect your family, whether or not they shift, those who are transitioning. It is so important to stay focused, because everything right now is what they would love for us to be diverted, and the diversions, okay? That's what they would love. But you see, I'm here to speak out now. You see, so hey, I must have been more enough time now, because you see, this is the essential moment. These are the essential moments, that even if it means that you are alone, which you're not anymore, because many of us had incarnated where we were alone, where we had to do this stuff, and we just felt sad and depressed, and we left out of the body. We were just mourning and mourning and mourning, and that's where that cycle itself continued on and on. That's the reason why some of us say, how come these wicked people just seem to stay forever and ever, and then the ones that that they serve the highest purpose for the planet and for our children, that they're gone. But it's still on purpose. And the reason why those energies have lasted so long, where it seems like as if they just never die, is because this planet is the only playground that they've had to keep playing the games. You see? But this is a time now where we have checkmate. And so I too myself has said that I wasn't going to get involved. And then when I saw and I felt and I witnessed, my higher self says, no, Sharon, you had to get involved. You know why? And I said, rock stone. Okay, I see it. I see the bigger picture. And that's why it's important to always be open. Always be open. Not open where you have everybody just coming in and invading a territory, but open to hearing the messages and hearing the time. Because you see, they don't like when you can figure yourself out, when you know thyself, because knowing yourself means that you're not going to allow anyone else's subjective and pro whatever they want to come across with their words and rhetorics and this and that. Hey, more power to them. But guess what? The power for me is when I listen and I'm always connected to the higher primordial energy through the Holy Spirit. See? The divine. That's who I follow. That's who I connect to daily. Even if me asleep. You see? And when you're in that stance, then you know as you're going through the trenches, you're able to see in front of you, behind you, and beside you without actually doing anything and seeing. Because you see, this is like what we call it the critical moment. Like I said, it's like they're going through a critical time. You know, it's like, again, the mother, she's on, we're either on the operating table or we're in the delivery room or we're in the water. And as we're giving birth to this cycle, because we're giving birth to the cycle, we're giving birth to the timeline of what is coming into that greater freedom for our children and for the next generation. We are the next generation. You are at the point where we don't have to physically die, but we're transforming how the body is going to be in order to accommodate what's coming through on Mother Earth. You see, that's another code, you know. If you don't hear anybody talking about Mother Earth right now, or they're not saying the word Christ or Christ consciousness or what we're embodying, that's your clue right there. And even if they try to attempt to listen to how they talk, it's like they're mumbling and jumbling. It's a bunch of confusion, laughing and mocking. Wasn't that the same thing that happened with Noah's Ark when they were mocking Noah when they said the flood was coming and this was coming? You see, they know not. Yeshua said, they know not. Forgive them, let it pass. I'm going up to the mountain. I'm going to be on the road. I'm going to be driving. You don't have to be up on the mountain. You could be anywhere. And know that you are the one that's moving the mountains, and the mountains are moving with you, because this is what we are recreating. It's none of our business any longer how or what anyone is interpreting in this reality. But you know, just know that your soul is going to always keep the door open for who you're going to be connecting to, who's going to be vibrating with you, that makes up a part of this tribe. The tribe itself, again, is not subjected to the color of the skin or if they're close by or anything like that, because the tribe in and of itself is an energy and a force. And each one of us is we're unlocking the DNA, okay? And the DNA itself is unlocking through all of the debate thing that's going on and the ballots that are being counted, because you see the victory that's coming through. Because even if they put things out there to incite war, to incite, I don't give a flying fuck what they want to predict. Again, the power of the consciousness, the power of the Christ prevails and supersedes anything else out there that they put out there in predictions, or they want to put out there what they feel is going to happen because if it happened before. You see? Because it's just like someone come to me for a reading and I tell them, hey, I saw you getting pregnant. So you don't get pregnant if you have the thought about it, of course it'll happen, but things can change. But remember, these energies are moving so rapidly. It's changing rapidly. And all I feel is, because even before I predicted, I said, boy, I feel like this is going to happen this way and this, but you know what? It changed. It moved. Because you see, each one of us that awaken in another layer, and awaken in another frequency, and awaken in another cycle, and awaken to another parts of ourselves that we felt disempowered, and all of a sudden you say, hey, wait a minute, I don't choose that. Oh, I know what's happening here. Oh, I'm not gonna allow myself to be too deeply in the fear. You will feel the fear on the surface. You'll feel a fear coming within you because it's connected to a past life connection or experience that you had. So that's why you're gonna feel the fear, and it's okay to feel the fear. And when I say fear, meaning like, what if this one gets it? What if that one happens this way? But stay focused now. Stay focused, just like the mother staying focused on the child, what we're giving birth to. That's beyond the physical people, but know that Mother, Father, God are using the elements of all those right now, everywhere in the whole lands. The same states right now represents what? The South and the suppression, right? Where the slavery was. where the people felt like they were not empowered. I went to Georgia 2 years ago, and I told Tavon, I said, boy, you know what? I don't know if I could have even stayed in Georgia if I wanted to. I said the reason why, because it felt heavy there. It felt heavy. It felt like I felt that slavery feeling was so deep into the surface. And so this is a huge it's a huge part of this process that's showing where the ancestors are speaking. The ancestors are alive within us, as well as those that are outside of us, that is connected to us, that is going through 20 billion lifetimes of cycles. The ones that have felt trapped and felt like as if they've been abused and cut off, the ones who felt like they had no voice at all and their throats were slashed and their heads were cut off, and everything that they were chopped up for. Do you think this is just a simple thing that's going on, that is just, they're just fighting? Because that's what they want you to think. They want you to not pay attention. And I'm not saying you don't have to pay attention just because of the words, but what I notice is that there are more people that are talking about what is happening with this man trying to be abusive and bully because he doesn't want to accept, which is what happens usually when that toxicity, when they don't choose to want to see their wounds, they choose to want to control something, and the anger that comes through from them because they don't get what they want. And so what they do, they either try to hit you, hurt you, or send somebody after you, right? Because that's what the Goonies do. They come after you, they come in your lane, they invade in our territory, and then we all scatter and separate ourselves because of what they do. So now we bond together, and we say no more, you see? And that we choose the outcome of where everything starts to now move towards the energy of peace. Just because someone says they want war doesn't mean that's gonna happen. Because let me tell you something. As much as when someone else say, well, I know that's what I want, again, the power of what we're choosing for the highest and best for the individual and the collective is what is pursuing right now. And it involves Mother Earth. So Mother Earth is also preparing herself for what is giving birth to through her. And in the process of how this birth is coming through is the fact that she has to expel all of the emotional pain that has been embedded in the earth. For those who are still or have been stuck in the cycle of being oppressed. So the oppression is going to be tied up around maybe where you live, a landlord, a husband, a wife. It could be anything that you might be feeling that oppression. Pay attention to that. Or feeling as if you have no voice, or feeling as if you're not heard, or feeling as if you're not honored, or feeling as if you can't stop something if it's out of your control. It's the same energy, just shows up as a different name or title. Okay? And so that's why they said, this is the time we can think about powers and principalities, because you see, what we are really facing and what we are going through is powers and principalities. It's not even just the physical people. The physical people just embody the energy, and they hold an energy collectively. But right now, the energy I read is that collectively, we've had enough. Yeah, come out of this place. You see? Because some may not take accountability, and we just have to face that. So as we're moving through the rebirth cycle in and of itself right now, is to pay attention to what's happening to your body. Like I said, I had irritation that was coming through my eyes yesterday, and it was the right side, which was masculine. So I saw and I felt into it, and I allowed myself to just feel through it, because my eyes was burning and burning and burning. And then, I took some eye drops and everything like that. And then I went back and I rested, and I just didn't force myself to feel like I had to go about with any other daily activities or anything like that. So what I did is I understood, and I overstand, and I innerstood myself in that masculine space, okay, of just the desire of what is going to be happening? What is going to take place? When is it going to be over? When can I now, kind of breathe again? And then I said, you know what? I'm breathing now, but I'm still in anticipation of something, right? And then I stayed in that visionary place of what I now see differently in what my body was releasing, because during the timelines that we have been on Earth, we have taken in so much energy. We have taken in and had so much experience of being dishonored, so much, manipulation, games, mockery, and everything on the things that we did see. And the time that we took when we did go out to war, because we were at war. We were out in physical war. We were, that's where the masculine came in, where they did go out to war. And we ourselves that were in male bodies that went out to war, and female bodies. There were females that were warriors as well. You see? And so the triggers that are coming through is the timing when we went to war, and the timing when we felt like we had to be within our divine right to protect the lands, to protect our children, to protect our wives and our husbands, to protect our property, what we built. And that's what's happening, you see? So the good thing is that we don't have to go to war because I know that a lot of my colored folks, a lot of my black folks, a lot of my, how do I call it, our villages and cultures, we feel that, we're going to go protect ourselves and go get knife and gun and all them things and look what we're going to do. But guess what? That's not the true war energy any longer, you see? That's not going to solve anything. It's the empowerment of self is what them can take from you, because when you empower yourself, nobody can come and tread on your territory anymore when you are building on that solid rock. You see? Because there is a saying that even if someone threatens you and say they want to do something to you, they cannot do anything to you if you choose that they cannot do anything to you. They can bully and chat all they want. And that's why I think about how some of these people talk about these Republicans, and people don't put Trump in his place and tell him about him blood clot too, because he thinks him can do what he feel like. And it's the same motherfucking bullies out there that like to talk shit, and then when the push come to shove, they don't have nothing under the belt, because all they have is threats and words and bullshit, okay? Because they don't want to accept the truth. And this is the time to tell people like it is, and whether or not they want to believe it, that's their problem. Okay, but we're not to be afraid to tell somebody about their ass, because guess what? Spiritual and politics and government, they motherfucking do go together. Okay, it goes together now, because this is what the true sovereignty and democracy is. Because they tell you, oh, don't pay attention to that. Oh, you're fooling yourself. No, you fooling yourself if you feel that it doesn't play a part right now. Okay. Like I said, it's a tool to where we are moving the body and the mind to what's changing. Okay? That's it. So anybody that think the story when Yeshua turned over the tables, guess what? He didn't do just turning over tables. It caused dirty blood clot too. Okay? Because the niceness and all that shit that they try, let's just, okay, buddy. Because there's a saying in my country in Jamaica, dopey know who for frighten. Okay? Dopey know who for friend. And what that means is the ones who feel the bullyism, the ones who feel that they're being controlled, that energy will only come into your space because it is being pulled towards you like a magnet, because it's vibrating within your solar plexus, and it's vibrating from within your energy fields. So you're going to attract the bully. And I know that quite well, because I was bullied when I was growing up. I was bullied even when I was awakening to my twin soul path. I was bullied for saying who I am. I was bullied for standing up and speaking up. And I still put them in their place. And you know how to? It wasn't just because I said words. I used wisdom. Wisdom. So you see, right now, they're going to do research. They're going to go say, oh, look at what's going on with that over here. Oh, I threw the cards over here. Oh, this is what I see. Yes, they're going to see it. They're going to see something from within their wounded space. But you see, they're not going to be able to interpret and get the bigger picture. That's the difference. That's the difference. You see, they're going to see from their manipulated space. And they don't realize that the same Trump represents all the other leaders in the past that have tried to control people that follow. They just follow. That's all they do. That's all they know how to do. That's all they know. They don't know anything else different than to follow what someone else says or what someone else does. They don't know anything about the power within. They don't know anything about what creation means or what it means to align with the creator, to align with abundance. They feel that, if you don't go by what they say, they're going to take something from you. Isn't that what they did before? Took away our children, sold some into slavery, take away the lands, manipulate in your bank account, steal, then they do all kind of deceptive things that come in the mail or whatever it is. It's always something that I can't take accountability for myself, so I'm just going to take what I want, because I'm within my right. I own this land. Motherfuckers, you don't own this land, okay? So anybody out there, I don't give a flying fuck who no is. No one owns the land. When you die and leave out your body, take it blood clot with you. This land itself is a part of the indigenous tribes. It is a part of the originals, okay? That's what it is. So you're going to be at a place where you're going to honor Mother Earth. You're going to honor the sacred feminine. And I don't care how much charts you read, how much books you have. I don't care how much in the past you can bring whatever happened then. Doesn't mean it's going to happen now. And that's it. Okay? Me not care if me speak for 2 billion people right now. I'm putting it out there. Okay? So take it and run with it and interpret it all you want. And this is so motherfucking spiritual. You see? So in the meantime, our bodies are going through a cycle right now of where the cells that's been attached or connected to the disrupted or corrupted DNA from when we allowed ourselves, because that's what we did. We allowed these things to happen, okay? For them to merge with us, to connect with us, to talk with us. It could be anything because, energy is not something that you can destroy, right? But you get to choose how you are going to connect to energy and what you're going to allow to come into that sacred space and how you're going to connect it to what you are creating. Because if you're creating love, if you're creating abundance, if you're creating finances, money, if you're creating your business, and then you allow someone to work with you that's not in alignment with your soul, then this is where it starts to descend. You see? That's where it starts to descend. And that's why if you are being shown that this is the time to cut off somebody out of your life, and again, it could be a family member, it could be a family member. I know one of my friends, her family member just cut her off just because of this whole Trump thing. And you know what? Who cares? Bye, Felicia's. Bye. Okay? Because there's more than enough love of what exists to come along. And it doesn't matter to me, anyone who feels, because this is another thing too. I'm going to say this right now too. Another rhetoric that they put out there is, oh, you shouldn't be, trying to tell anybody how they feel or what they do because of who they vote for. Motherfucker, I'm not telling you what to do, but let me tell you something. I'm not going to associate with you. If you feel, because that is where that darkness comes in and tries to say, oh, you're not loving me. And, we're supposed to be able to get along with one another and be one together. And no matter who I vote for. But guess what? This has to do with the value that I place on myself with what I'm yoking with, because it's not going to blend and mix with what's coming from me. I will not allow or choose any energy or cycle of anyone that chooses not to look at their toxicity, their toxic wounds, what they connect to, what they believe in, and what their value is. Because this is where now everyone along that spectrum is taking accountability, like I said before. Taking accountability for yourself, what you have allowed, where you have given away your power, where you have given away yourself and you didn't speak up until somebody bought them parts. If it's presented to you, because there's some people, there's just it's not worth it. It ain't worth it. You know what I mean? Just let them go. Let them go. That it's not your business. What's imperative is you to pay attention to what's happening in your lane, in your backyard. You know what I mean? If you got to dance in and out of it, I get it, because sometimes it could be that individual that represents the nemesis or represents the opposition. And sometimes we have to look at that opposition itself and see how it, in its interpretation, how it is assisting you to complete and to continue on your embodiment of the Christ. Okay, because remember, it's not about avoiding, but if you know and you feel in your heart, your soul will tell you, you know what? That's the cutting point. That's it. That's it. It's over. I'm done with it. Okay? Then you listen to your inner guidance. Even if you have a friend, you and them are in the same alignment, but you and that friend is connected to someone that represents a nemesis for one, but not for you. Stay out of it. Stay out of it. Let the energies pull through, because whatever and however those two individuals are connected to each other, that's their karmic cycle to work through. It's not yours. Okay? And if it is yours, it's more of being like the observer and let them work through, because it doesn't mean that the person's evil necessarily. It doesn't mean, some you can tell like, okay, they're in this energy field, because the energy field goes in layers. There's the different layers of toxicity, different layers of how the wound shows up, the wound itself. Okay, and you have those that are to the far extreme, and when you look at it to the far extreme, and you can feel the crumbling within yourself, like, no, this doesn't really it's just not for me. It's not for the timeline of what I'm creating, because then it's like as if you're allowing yourself to feel like you're babysitting someone, and if they change or what they may change or what they may see, or and so on and so forth. And that's the reason why so many of us who are especially on the twin soul path have gotten stuck, because we feel like we're supposed to be in that savior complex too, where we're saving others and we're waiting for them to get it, or we're waiting. No, there's no waiting for anybody. This is for you to stay on your path and your divine purpose, your soul purpose. We heard those who know this, we heard the clarion call. We came to earth so that way we would embody the Christ, and that we would go through the cycles of what we were going to encounter, and that we would remember more. We wouldn't be in that lower aspect of the spectrum, because some people might say, oh, well, that's not a nice thing to say. And I'm talking about the spectrum of the Neanderthal, because Spirit showed me that DNA, the Neanderthal that may be connected to you, may be connected to others, am I going to activate that part of my DNA, or am I going to understand it and know what it means for me and how I process information, and the views that I have of what feels like I'm placing value for me, and where I'm attaining intelligence, or I'm moving through intelligence and not ignorance. Because it's either that far side of that spectrum with the Neanderthal type of talking and operating and feeling and processing, is where the ignorance is there for how someone will say and look like, oh no, it's okay to be that way. They're just a savior. Come on now, this is what's in the books. You got to go by what the books say. Oh no, this is in the family. And we got to read this together and all that stuff. Right, okay? Or you move yourself in the direction of your true divinity and the intelligence. What is the intelligence energy conveying to you? Where are you feeling that within the cycle of your ascension and awakening? Okay? Or are you going to allow yourself to be ignorant? I talk about ignorance in the book. I talk about the level of whether you apply intelligence, and anything below intelligence is ignorance. And then if you choose to remain ignorant, below ignorance is dummy. You just become a dummy. You don't have no sense. Because you could even have college education and know all kind of shit and words and how to, do this and that, but they don't know how to apply common sense. No common sense whatsoever. Who have time for that? You can't teach somebody to have common sense. You can't teach anyone to see something beyond what they cannot see. And that's tied to the genetics, okay? That's tied to the genetics. The beautiful thing is that we all have incarnated connected to so many parts of ourselves in that DNA. And part of that DNA is also the cosmic DNA. So you can choose to activate that cosmic DNA while you're still in the the part of yourself that knows yourself as the physical 3D, 5D DNA, so to speak. Okay. And that wisdom in and of itself is where you pay attention to the parts of your physical body that's connected to your DNA in what's coming through right now. Okay, you don't have to go deep into it, but just be aware of it. So like I said, my right eye was irritating me. My skin was itching and irritating me so bad. So what I did is I used the black seed oil. Like I'm taking the black seed oil internally as capsules, and I literally got the actual bottle of the black seed oil. It's almost like molasses type, and it just works so well on the irritation that's been on my skin. And so what's happening is that what I heard Spirit saying when I was taking my bath is that the individual self, okay, that's connected to your physical body, that carries DNA from previous timelines, okay, and that means that these are also timelines of when the split occurred, and the different merging of other beings, the different merging of the corrupted consciousness, as one would say, the dissension in consciousness that would represent the Neanderthal. It kind of will represent the part of your body that's slowed down. Okay, you're saying that it's descended. That's the reason why when you're on earth, the vibration is heavier and slowed down. When you're connected to the Christ, your body, your thought process, okay, the enlightenment of what it really means, not the ones who mock it, is where you are ascended in consciousness. You are connected within the intelligence, the divine intelligence of God. And part of that intelligence is applying the wisdom that flows through you, through this, the parts of the feminine that applies wisdom to over understanding the elements of that consciousness that's connected to your DNA. And that includes being in your heart as well. So being in your heart is not necessarily tied to love. It is, but it's also tied to feeling, how you're feeling and connecting. Because when we are connected to one another without speaking words, we connect from the heart. Before we would connect from the mind, like some people say they want to read your mind, or they want to read your thoughts. They want to read what the person's thinking. Okay, because some people ask me that, can you read my mind? And I'm like, no, I'm not a mind reader. I can probably feel a little, I can hear conversations. Like I can hear conversations in the past. I can hear people's conversations in past lives. But what I tap into first more is, what is your heart telling me? Because we're so used to, or have been, let me rephrase that, to what someone is representing of themselves based on words, based on words in terms of what they write or what they speak. But your heart is telling me something differently. So you're covering yourself up. You're covering up something. You're not showing your true authentic self. So in this time, as the veil is coming off, we are reconnecting to the parts of ourselves that's exposed. And so if there's parts of you that's exposed in darkness, in ignorance, in wanting to control others, in wanting to take over, in wanting to cheat, to lie, to steal, it's not going to hold. It's not going to hold. And so the thing about it is that people get trapped into, when someone puts something out there to create an insight, confusion, and war. And it's important to stay in your heart and feel and know what the truth is, and don't get involved in other people's information that they put out there in conspiracies and, oh, this one is doing this and this one is doing that, because then it starts that fear process. And the fear-based manipulation is where it starts to have you descending. Okay, that's where the dissension comes in. When you are in the higher consciousness and the higher feeling, the higher thought, the connecting from your heart, and not only what you see, as you navigate through it, the navigation itself is going to bring you to that place of knowing what the bigger picture is, knowing the process of what it takes to, as we're going through the trenches of that galactic war of literally of when the planet was invaded on. See? And as we're taking back our sovereignty and our power and the planet and the lands, and to what is bountiful for us. It's going to take the rewiring of how you have functioned and how you have interpreted, how you have processed through with things, that you're not sitting back and allowing things to happen and you're not being proactive as well. Or if you are being proactive, but you also remember to come back to yourself, to nurture you, and to also pay attention to how your body is processing the information. Okay. And when I say processing the information, that if you are feeling the fear, you will feel fear, because fear is going to come up. This is a part of what's happening right now. That's why Spirit had me come on right now at 3 o'clock. The 3 o'clock hour is almost an hour now, where you're going to feel the fear coming in. What's going to happen? That's fine. It's okay. It's a part of the process. Then you might feel like, ooh, I feel like, oh, I have back my power again, because I feel relieved with what I see. Okay. Or if you feel the fear, you can feel the fear and feel the relief at the same time. Your body will also feel affected with going to the bathroom. You might feel like you don't want to eat, or you don't want to eat, anxiety, you sleep, you don't want to sleep, feeling if you're not able to function. It's okay. Keep moving through the cycle. Keep moving through that process. Okay. The beautiful thing again is that we are not alone in what we are experiencing and what we're bringing right now to the planet, because now we have each other. We're not alone. We're not having to go into this space of having to leave our and abandon. Many of us have abandoned our homes and abandoned territories, abandoned land, robbed and things stolen, and told that you can't vote or you can't exercise your divinity. You see, because it's that same thing again, like, hey, I'm going to give you a tool that you can choose, but then I'm going to take it away from you because I really don't want you to have the power. So I just want to take that away from you. You see what I'm saying? And they say, oh, don't pay attention to what's going on out there in the bigger picture. Just pay attention to what's happening in your home. No, pay attention to what's happening around you individually, and pay attention to the bigger picture, and then the other bigger picture. Okay? Pay attention to all of it. To all of it. You may not have to go too deep in all the time, but then don't forget, do go in deep. This is the time to go in deep. To go in deep. Okay? And see it from the bird's eye view, and also see it from the turtle view. See it from as slow as it moves and as quickly as it is showing itself. Because you see, the DNA within you is breaking down. Okay? It is breaking down. The old DNA possibly connected Neanderthal, possibly connected European connection, the docile energy that also connected to the peacefulness of the tribe and the indigenous ones, because the indigenous ones were peaceful people. We were peaceful. We were in our own happy fucking lane. Okay? And then what happened is, what was created in America and other regions and lands that was invaded was paperwork, contracts. See? Signing all these documents and shit, signing your life away. And the ignorance that took place with us then was that some couldn't read, some couldn't write. We looked at it like they come in disguise and say, oh, I love you. I come in peace. Oh, let's see what we can do to be together. Huh? And what they do? Fuck you over. That's all they know. That's all they know. They don't know nothing else. Always want to take and take and take. It's that greed, the gluttony, the sins, the 7 deadly sins, the things that people feel, that lower parts of themselves, the survival. That's Neanderthal. I got to survive. I got to hold on to this. I have to manipulate with this in order to keep what I have. And with what I have, I don't have enough that I feel that I can share with another, because what if I run out? What if there's not? So please don't fall for the rhetoric either, for people that are also posting things, oh, stock up on the water, go stock up on it, because again, that all of that does is incite fear, and it incites an energy of, I am not in divine flow with Mother Earth. I'm not in divine flow with Source Creator. I'm not in divine flow with God, with what I receive and what I can have. You know, all it does is puts you back into that primal energy, that primal code, that DNA code of survival. There's not enough, lack and limitation. Competition. I gotta compete to get what I want. I gotta steal her man. I gotta take his wife. I gotta steal the money. I gotta trick. I gotta manipulate with the contracts and the paperwork. I gotta get married so I can get some of the money. I gotta open my legs to go have that baby so I can get me some. That's that old vibration, the old energy that brings in that toxic masculine and feminine, the toxicity of what one can have by lying and cheating. And then they create more narratives to rope you in and have you like, if you could be happy in your home, and they see you happy with your children or your spouse, and then they come along and say, oh, you know, I saw so-and-so doing something, whatever, when that wasn't even what was happening. And then what it does is it incites for people to start being in fear and anger, and then they go and they kill. They kill because of words. They kill because of manipulation. They kill because of how the message was given by someone who was manipulating to incite the fear and incite the programming that sends off a signal for the ignorant ones that want to go out there to try and stop the people that are counting the votes, that are volunteering their time to assist with what's happening, for the people's voices to be heard. That's all it does. And it just incites more ignorance and more ignorance and more ignorance. You see? That's it. More ignorance. That's unnecessary. That's unnecessary. You have on something, you have on a particular color, and then all of a sudden, they want to send someone to go hang someone, and they want to send someone to go kill someone and shoot someone. It's that same energetic vibration. And when that does happen, it can ignite that fear within you of the times of when it happened with you or you witnessed it in other timelines. And so that's why you feel like, I don't want to see it on TV. I don't want to hear it from anyone. And if you feel something is making you feel that fear like that, or feel the invasion, face it now. Face it now. It's important to face it now, because it will help you to get to that part of that layer of DNA that's dormant within you, that needs to be aware of, brought into awareness and need to be alchemized. Okay. Because it's not going to work with you still wrapped up in the old energy and that DNA pattern that is still within you from what you felt and experienced. If you feel that this is the time to speak up, it's important to do that, because what you're doing is you're bringing back your power and the divine rights that you have to what is yours, You see? So even if that individual itself may not have meant harm, but it brought something in you to express, to bring out in how you feel in a healthy way, because you did not do it in another timeline. And once you face that, okay, what you're doing is you're activating that divine energy within you with how empowering and empowered you have been. You see? And then what it does is it's almost like having something solid, like a cake, or like we have grater cake, and you take it and you just go like this, and it just like breaks it apart. And that's what it'll do. It'll start to break apart in all the parts of yourself. That's alchemizing through the layers of what affected you. That the election is the triggering point right now. It's that triggering point. It doesn't matter what the end result. I mean, it does matter. But what I'm saying is, with how it's unfolding, this is how you are being assisted through the divine in being able to understand what you're working with what is releasing from your body. And then what's happening is that you're going to start to activate the Christ codes within you. Okay, the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine codes that are rising. And the sacred masculine is starting to embody itself through your higher self. Okay, and the way how it's going to look, how Spirit tells me, is that you're going to feel more energy. You're going to feel more empowered. They're telling me that there's going to be just like more downloads that'll just start to flow through your whole entire body. And remember, information is not going to only come through to your, connected to your pineal gland. There's other parts of your body that's also communicating to you. That's why I've always said before in my previous videos to pay attention to what is being interpreted from your body points, okay? All of your body points is speaking to you now. You may have had experience in past lives where something happened with your leg, your foot, something happened with your breast, something happened with your behind, something happened with your arm, your neck, your throat, your nose, your eyes, your forehead, your chin. You could be feeling something in your uterus, your bladder, your colon. Every part of your body holds a memory of something. So you're working through this alchemy of where your body has taken in what it remembers from your soul when you incarnated. And so as you are breaking the old codes that are moving through your system, it's going to show up again as fluid. It could be blood. It could be burning sensations. Just keep applying everything that's connected to earth to your body. Like I suggested, the black seed oil. I got the actual oil itself and put it on my skin. I'm using a lot of different skin products right now. I'm using lavender scented, what do you call it? Oh my God, Epsom salt, sea salt, taking sea salt baths. I remember when I did the last video, I said I suggested that you take something from the earth and bring it into your room or where you are the most. And this is what I collected. I haven't finished yet, but I started, and I took acorns. I took acorns from outside, and I just hold them in my hand, and I just give thanks to the Creator for protection, and keep that energy going with protection for yourself and protection for others. That wherever you are, be conscious and aware of your surroundings. Be mindful of anyone that tries to incite or say something to you. Don't get into any arguments with them physically on the street if you're by yourself, because it's going to play itself out with those who are going to be angry with or how things show for them, because it's a repeat cycle of energy that's happened before, where if one was overpowering another, now they're going to experience what it's like to not have their way. And then those who have felt like they did not felt balanced within themselves because their power was taken from them and they didn't do anything. This is how Spirit is bringing that time now for you to correct it, for you to bring it back into balance, okay? And bringing it back into balance is what brings back that peace in your heart, and it brings you back to that 0 point. So I'll give you an example. Say you had throat issues, right? Where you're coughing, you got the flu, whatever they call it, and you are the type of person that you're passive aggressive, like you only become aggressive depending on what it is. And you decide to speak up on something, right? Whether it's from an unconscious place or a conscious place. And then once you do that, then what happens is the energy itself will start to flow through your throat, that you'll start to feel better, and it goes away, not because you took something for it, because it's an energy that you held onto in your throat, and it affects your throat chakra. And be mindful that this is not necessarily something that it just happened. It could have been happening from a long time ago, many times, and it just worked through itself in cycles and in time, a little bit at a time. But now it's going to come even further, where you might have phlegm, you might have a feeling of discomfort, and it's going to be something that is like how do I say that? It's expanding in whatever it is that you need to finally address, something that you have not addressed, okay? And it's something that affects you individually. So the part of yourself now is going to be going through that upgrade cycle with your throat, that's connected to the times when you didn't speak up, and whether it created a throat infection, or you felt disempowered during the time that you had the throat infection. And no matter what you take with it as far as medicine products, that it didn't work. But because you took the time to be in the awareness of when you didn't speak up, that now the action that you've taken have changed and altered the cells within your body that's connected to your throat, that's connected to you speaking up, that's connected to you expressing yourself, that's connected to you taking back what you felt you are violated with or something. And that is going to bring in that new the DNA part of yourself that's connected to your higher self, that's connected to the higher form of expression yourself, that's not necessarily as much density that's within your body. Okay, and it's going to just keep moving in cycles. So this time again is the most critical point. Like I said, the deepest parts of self that is given the opportunity to now take a stand, bring it all in that reverse, and you're setting yourself free. You're setting your body free. You're setting the pain free. You're setting the sorrow free. You're setting the memories of also your ancestors, the curses that have been passed on from generation to generation from those who did not speak up and those who lost, or those who felt dishonored. Okay, and that anything that we bring together now collectively, because this is the time now where that saying in the scripture, what Yeshua said is that where two or more are gathered, and this is many of us gathered now. I look at the timing on the live, and it says 1 hour and 11 minutes, 11111, and that is whatsoever we have joined together now, nothing can tear it apart any longer, and we won't have to be in fear of what we are creating that is going to be split. Okay, because that split itself is what played a part in how we fragmented. See, so all that parts of yourself that has fragmented is what you're bringing back together, and as you're bringing it back together, each section of your body is going to be breaking down now. It's going to be breaking down the old energy, that old vibration during the Saturn Capricorn. And so you are moving towards your own exaltation of what is not only expanding through this Christ consciousness within you, through that season of rebirth, okay, but also how it brings us closer to that sacred space that once was, that purest form of the sacred space, okay, where it is in harmony, where it's not going against itself, where it feels at peace. Okay, so when I say it, I'm not saying it as if you're an it, I'm saying it as referring to as the energy within you and the energy within me, and how we are in that one embodiment of the Christ, okay, where we're not losing ourselves with this power, but we're gaining now. We're gaining. It's like we're in a horse race right now. So even, I can tell you that even that moment that comes, you're going to feel a relief that comes within you. But still remember, we're still a work in progress, okay? Not working in the fields, but just coming back into more memory, because it's a memory that we had. It's a memory because when we mixed up with those that were not on that same energy as we were, we descended and we forgot ourselves. And now that we see where we were in our downfall with what we connected to with those who have fallen and those who chose to want to have power over and trickery and the nonsense, now we see who they are. Now Spirit has given us the tools to be able to differentiate. We can't unsee it. We can't unlearn it because it already happened. And so now we take that back now in the essence of our power. And now we are moving through the layers of self, the layers of becoming, the layers of what we're creating, the layers of how we're connecting to the Creator, Mother Earth, the Cosmic Mother. The gods have spoken, the ancestors have spoken. It's not even just the power of the ones who are here in the physical realm, but it's also the astral realm, and also the ones that have been on earth and did go to the other side, and they're here and they're with us and they're joined with us. Okay. And this is why I give thanks. I give thanks for this moment that we're able to witness. Everything that we have desired, what you've asked for, is now here. Okay. And that it's important to stay in that awareness as much as you can. Stay in that awareness. Honor the fear. Honor the parts of you that did fall apart, and knowing that you now have been given the gift of being able to recreate the foundation that had been built, that was already in place, but now you're able to rebuild that foundation, and that it does not have to break down again. Okay. Those who choose to form and to be a part of their sinking sand, that's their problems, not yours. They play a significance, but it is no longer, we're no longer subjected to being a part of that. If it is anything that you're a part of that, it is the observation of it. So you see yourself and where you are able to differentiate and move to that next level and layer of self, and the awareness of self. And who are you going to be now with yourself? The observation of yourself, how it molds with your children, how it molds with the energy fields that are around you. Okay. And that even if it looks like whether it's a winning or a losing, it's more of how I'm bringing in that integration of what has been the opposition that I allowed to take over more of the part of myself that was leaning to the other side, and it was not addressed. And that's why we come back here now to address it and bring it back into that space of, I am in my freedom. I've always had my freedom, but I had to be aware of myself. I had to go deep into the trenches of myself. I had to face myself. I had to go head on with myself. I had to go into that path, even if I had no tools, even if I had no spear, even if I had no gun, even if I had no this, and I'm facing it head on. And in such, I give thanks to the divine. I give thanks to Jah. I just give thanks. And that's exactly where I take it. And it feels good inside when you're able to express and you're able to really have that communication with yourself and your body and what spirit is guiding and saying to you, and that it's okay, that even if you feel like you're in a hermit mode right now, like you feel like you can't go anywhere because you just want to move through the layers of what happens, it's okay. This is the time that we have been waiting on. Okay? Then if anybody says, no, take your mind off of that. No, you not take no mind off of that. Guess what? We tried it before. We came here over and over again, and that's why we are completing the constant reincarnating to come back and fix it and bring it over here, bring it back. No more. And that's the reason why when Spirit showed me this about 5-6 years ago, they said, we will no longer have to have our ancestors or anyone having to come back again. We will see them again. It's already happening. It's coming through. You're gonna have dreams and all kinds of activity is opened up now. So it's not subjected to when it's October 31st only. It is happening now, and it's exciting. It's very, very exciting. It's like those of you who are really working within yourself, you really can start to feel that pocket of freedom, because you're going to feel it in your solar plexus. It's all happening within your solar plexus. That's where it begins. Just like the mother with the child, where the umbilical cord is the parts of ourselves that connects to where we feel nurtured, where we feel that we're receiving our supply of water, food, the nutrition. We feel protected, we feel safe. And that's what we choose, to feel safe on the planet. Safety is not going to come from Trump. Safety is not going to come from all those people. But I tell you that the ones who are working with us, the ones that are a part of and choose to bring things back into fairness and balance, that is the energy we work with. So I'm in a business what anybody want to put out about, oh, this one is this, that, and this one do that before in the past and all that stuff. Stay focused on the now. Stay focused on the now and see the bigger picture of where spirit is leading us. When I say spirit, I'm talking about the whole divine essence of spirit through the ancestors and God, source creator, the bigger plan, the bigger picture. Because I'm telling you this from now, I don't believe what anybody wants to say, because I know there's other people that say the same thing. The way we return back to the sacredness of the planet, the sacredness of the lands, is through Mother Earth, the blackness, the indigenous. Okay? We hold the codes. We hold the keys to what comes into balance, the natural resources that is within ourselves. Okay, the true divine Christ spirit. It's not going to come true from books and all the other things and from before. You get pieces of it that activates you to awaken you, but it's not the overall. No. And you will, and those who know how they connect to it, you feel it and know it without looking it up. Okay? And you will hear and witness those who are talking about it that you may not even know. And you know that spirit is showing you that you're on the right track. You don't question it. And you don't have to validate it either. You see? Because nobody never see from, I've been talking on here from this time. I haven't read off of anything, no notes, no nothing. I was guided by spirit to come on and record this. Whoever is on. Who comes after to see it. Blessings, blessings, blessings. You see? It's a blessing for me. It's a blessing for you. It's a blessing for all of us, because I know and I receive the greater picture. And I see where things are moving in divine flow. Divine flow. Divine flow. So anyway, so I'm going to drink something real quick, and I'm going to just do a little bit of a chanting thing, because, you know, I still have to play the music in the background, because I'm moving through alchemy right now as I speak this out, coming through with the feminine, sacred voice and masculine at the same time. I'm drinking my mango carrot juice. Cara. So this day, November, can't believe it's November. Cannot believe it, but I do believe it, because you see, everything is just speeding up. It's speeding up, speeding up, speeding up, speeding up. And it is through the essence of the light. Light is time. Time is light. That's why when you hear that saying, we got there in lightning speed, you know, light travels very quickly. And that's what the true light is. It travels very quickly. So as much as anything that represents the resistance energy itself is not able to keep up as quickly with the energy that's moving quicker. It's slowed down because those who hold the energy and pockets of density based on thought patterns, what they have within their DNA that they still don't work on with those wounds, it's going to feel more chaotic for them, toxic. What spirit showed me, as far as I'm remembering what they're guiding me to say, because I'm giving you now channeled information that I received, that those who had came together with anything that they were connecting to, whether where you live, your twin, a soulmate, home, whatever, if it has not felt right, if something felt off, if you were in a union space physically together, that those who were separated or had been separated, that we're moving in the energy of what comes together. Okay. And then those who were together may end up moving towards a cycle of separation. Okay. There are some that have the embodiment of the disease of the mind and the heart, that the body will start to be affected. There are those who also had contracted the C virus and other things that had been festering in the body that had represented diseases, may be resurfaced, and those who that had it, that it helped and assisted to activate our DNA. And then those who did not have it and were making fun and mockery and all that stuff, that they may have it or know of someone who will have it, where it's going to affect them deeply because it's not over. Spirit says that in and of itself, that the virus represents the all of the diseases of humanity that had been infiltrated in the body, and so it was put in place for what has to come through in a reverse cycle. So if it is like a plague to one and fear, then it will appear as such. And if it is something that represents your freedom, it will be as such. It has a principle. Whether one wears something, does something, is one place or another, each individual has a specific path to what they must go through on their own with no assistance, and that's what it's going to take for them to get through to the other side. If they or anyone has not faced this within themselves, and however it shows up, then whatever comes next as we near towards the end of the year, there are going to be more transitions, and it's going to be like a lot more. Like they're showing me like a lot. When I say a lot, and it's not necessarily tied to the C virus. It's going to be also those who have conditions in their body that they have not addressed, like wounds that they haven't addressed. And it's not because it's tied to the C virus. It's tied to the energy of the photon light that is shining. That's coming through to Earth. So because the light itself that's coming through is pulsating onto the density of the body and the density of things that anyone has held onto that they have not cleared. And if they have not done the internal healing, it's going to become painful. And this is what's causing for some people to just start exiting. So they're showing me that it's more than one element of what's coming through between now and the end of the year, that it's going to be so many souls that are going to be leaving, because it's going to be very intense. They're also showing me a lot of that some are going to also start to feel heart palpitations. Their heart is accelerating very quickly. When things start to come through, it's going to be by the eclipse. The eclipse, they're showing me the end of the month. That eclipse itself, which I know, okay, my body's processing. The eclipse in Gemini, and they're saying that some will be feeling more effect, not just the body, but the mind. And a lot of things that are eclipsing or have already started happening, but it's going to be even more intense by that time. It's going to affect mostly those who are still holding on to the old views of things, the old structures, the old foundations that's connected to relationships, that's connected to the foundations of families, that's connected to the foundations of tribes, that's connected to the foundations of the world. It's not subjected to one specific country. It's for all. And so they're telling me that it's going to create more pockets of people that are going to be internalizing this, and they're going to go into even more hermit mode. It's going to almost feel like people going into silence. And it's like when things was written, the dark days are coming, but the dark days are coming for what the shadow itself is just building up. And what's going to appear as a shadow for some is going to be more light for us, because that's where everything is rotating. They're showing it is rotating, because it's like an opportunity for those that even if they had fallen, even if they had turned away from the light, that it's an opportunity for them to face themselves and these wounds. And it's going to be very, very intense. They're going to be feeling it so much in the it feels like it's both regions, the upper and the lower. So heart, solar plexus, heart, sacral root, heart. There's a lot of heart pain, heart so much things connected to the heart. The heart is showing me the heart, because it's kind of bringing things into alignment between the heart and the mind and feeling. They're going to be feeling more. You're going to be feeling. It's like the balance of mind, heart, and working through okay. It's almost like when the physical mankind had went into the survival animal instinctual DNA. It's going to be moving through whatever specific experiences that someone is going to have is what shifts us, moving away from the animal survival instinct that's connected to masculine energy. So it kind of frees up that individual, frees up the thought patterns, frees up the connection that they have to the physical things that they attain. So they're more connecting with a different mind thought process. The things that they believed, or what one thought, the thought is coming differently. And that's because they're connecting and feeling more to her. So they're just showing me this, like it's just like coming through, because we can't see time. So it's like it's moving through the time energy between now and the first eclipse into the second eclipse. So it's all merging together, and it's like it's creating a different type of marriage, because the marriage of the bride to the Christ, it's the marriage of the bride to the Christ. It's the marriage of the body, mind, and soul to the true essence of the power, what the true power is. And when that is coming into that interconnectivity, it can only come through the interconnectivity once one has released the old DNA patterns that's within the soul, what's within the body, because that's the reason why when your higher self is moving through the layers through time, especially when after you've met your twin or anyone that is a mirror to you, it's actually facilitating everything that's going to keep coming up and rearing up. And as it's being released, it's allowing more light to come in and more light to come in. So the photon light itself is really helping for more of those layers to peel back. And then you start to feel, it's like the heart activations and stuff is what's coming through for the collective consciousness. It's the collective consciousness, because now the collective consciousness is now having to speed up. That's the reason why the election and everything that happened is they showed me this. I didn't necessarily predict a virus that was coming, but I did predict that something huge was coming. This was 3 years ago, that something big is coming that's going to really awaken the collective consciousness, because it's important for the collective consciousness to be in that closer alignment for those on the twin soul path, because the union energy itself is the power that comes in that consciousness that is now aware of itself in what freedom means, that everything and everyone is taking accountability in what we are bringing into balance, what is fair, what is a true empowerment with together, where it's balanced on both sides, okay? Minus the labels. The labels can come after now, because these label attachment to names and, I was this and I was born this and I have this and this paperwork, that does not matter now. All that shit is going out the door. It may come back, but it's not going to be the same. Even the declarations, the independence papers, all these rhetoric things, all of it is changing. Marriages, people will say, I'm going to get married and we're getting married. Contracts, all those contracts are going to be null and voided out, because the true essence of the Christ is not attached to that. So if you still feel you hold on to that structure, it's not going to work for you. It's going to keep falling apart. Your marriage is going to fall apart. And I'm not putting that out there for me, but I'm saying that if you're holding tight to it, that it's a must, or what it gives you, or it's not based on the intention of freedom for both in how it complements each other. But if one is being dominant or codependent or, structured, in what one has based on being, or what is the basis, or if there's no integrity, and marriage could be a marriage of a business too. If it's not based on integrity, if it's not based on authenticity, if you're not being authentic, if the other individual is not being authentic, it's going to collapse. It's going to keep falling apart until you get it, until you let it go. If you're not doing it, then these eclipses coming up, Spirit says, is going to do it for you. Saturn is also playing a part in what it's doing for you. Saturn has been communicating with me, and of course that's one of my ruling planets as well, Saturn. And it's not just the principle of what do you call it, revenge, or that karmic element. The karmic part of it is what has to be addressed, what has to be acknowledged. We can't just be bypassing and act like it don't exist. And we're here. We are here on planet Earth. We are her inhabitants. And so we are collapsing the the dishonoring of the principles of family, okay? But we're still creating a foundation of how we work together. See? How we work together. Individuals who do not support that and they want to label it as socialism, communism. Like I said, I don't give a fuck what name you want. They can't come with all kind of name. Guess what? Poof, disappear. Even Spirit told me that there's going to be a wipeout in memories of some. You're really holding on tight to names and labels and whatever the fuck, whatever. Guess what? You're going to have memory lapses, and it's not going to be Alzheimer's. It's going to be like, you don't remember, this. And that's not the same thing as for those of us who, when you're moving through these cycles of energy and you're trying to find the words, that's not the same principle I'm talking about. I'm talking about those who hold all these energies of trying to control others and manipulate with data. They're going to find their YouTube channels gone, or I've seen it, or I already see it. Like somebody I know, not personally, YouTube channel just gone. All that information, because it's based on conspiracy, lies, and stuff like that. So I don't give a flying fuck anybody want to say, it's censorship and all that stuff. Yeah, the censorship is coming from the divine, because a lot of those people tend to forget that there is a higher power, and they feel that they want to. So good. I'm glad. Yeah, and I'm saying it publicly. I'm glad that how it's unfolding, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, on whatever platform, if it is shutting you down, it is shutting, and it is releasing, it is eradicating anything that does not serve the highest purpose of humanity. If it is still based on lies and rhetoric, it is going out the door. Period. That's what Spirit showed me. That's exactly what it is. That's all, folks. And that's what was shown to me. And so that's creating the periods of darkness. The periods of darkness is the periods of darkness of information that's disappearing, that's going away. Going away. The higher power, the higher beings, it's going away. It's going away. It's disappearing. Okay? You might even find yourself posting things and all of a sudden, gone. That's it. So they can call it all kind of name about censorship, whatever. That's it. It's over. See, those days are over now. So we don't even have to worry about whether we have to do something physically, because there is higher power and beings that are doing something. The ones that are on the side of humanity and the cosmos and the galaxy of what must come together because of where the planet Earth has been, with the manipulating forces that have tried to infiltrate on Earth. And that's the reason why Earth had the clarion call for us to come here, for those who have more awakened memory, to work as we work in groups and together. Not hard work now. I'm not talking about labor work. I'm talking about the expression of what we are revealing, the true revelations of the Christ, the true revelation of knowledge, the true revelation of the wisdom that flows from the knowledge, so that way we know what seeds that have been planted, what we've been moving through these layers, is now coming together to form into the true embodiment of this Christ consciousness. And so as we get closer and closer and closer to that, that period of when it's like, again, I'm not going to subject it to a date, but what comes through from December 21st or around that time frame, where the Christ embodiment, right? Now, it could mean greetings, Emily. It could mean where this is a lot of twins that come together physically or around that time, or you hear from them. Just keep moving through the flow of what's being said. Remember, there's a bigger picture that the Mars in Aries itself, that this time frame is that true divine element of what's pushing through in those layers of what represented the fallen part, the dissension, the ones that were attracted to our beloveds, that they were not able to see or to feel us, or to feel that sacred feminine essence that's within them. And so they were duped, or we allowed ourselves to be duped, because it still started from the feminine. She is the one that pulled away from herself and what she knew to be true in terms of honoring herself. And so as we bring back the honor to herself, then your sacred masculine within you and outside of you is able to remember now what it is, so that anything that is not the representation of that sacred feminine within, that's in that element of wound or toxicity, you're no longer attracting that wounded parts of yourself that shows up in the outer reality. Okay. And this is where you will always know that you are protected. You're always guided. You're always brought to that place of within yourself with wisdom, and knowing when you don't engage, and knowing when you do speak up and say something, because this is the time where, again, we're roaring into the essence of truth. We're roaring into, and if we know that this is our truth, and someone is saying, oh, you're taking away my freedom because I support Trump and I supported it. I don't give a flying feather, okay? Because those type of truths that they want to talk about, that's tied to toxicity, and I don't care how famous you are, I don't care how many YouTube segments you put out there, or what title you have, in what category that you have it in. If it is based on the rhetoric of undervaluing and demonizing and twist and manipulation, then it's not truth. Okay. So many of us have been afraid to speak up and say these things. And it could be people that you've had sessions with. It could be people you've had conversations with before. It could have been people that you've had different meetings with one another. The truth is the truth is the truth now. And it's time for us to bring back the truth onto the planet. If we know that America was not discovered, it was always here. Stop going along with those rhetorics, okay? Because we're dishonoring ourselves again when we do that. So the more we place back the honor and bring the real truth, the authentic truth, that is where the ancestors within us and outside of us and the cosmic element is supporting that. And that truth will remain. That will remain, okay? And all it is frequency that we're putting out there to correct what was dismantled and to bring it back into the form of what the essence of the light is on the planet, in what sustains us. Because you see, when we keep doing that, this is where the abundance of everything starts to flow. That flow comes through because it's no longer vibrating to that separation consciousness. It's no longer vibrating to the sadness, the sorrow, the way how, again, whatever disrespect has happened to Mother Earth with the inhabitants that's on here and what we've allowed to happen. So therefore we are taking it back. So people who want to keep perpetuating out there, oh, you voted for somebody that wants to take away the oil and whatever. Again, times are changing. Times are changing. We're moving through a transformational period, a new time of things that are towards the higher vision and purpose, see, of the cosmic element of the Christ. And the connection that Earth will have in that higher consciousness is what brings in the merge of other planetary beings that will start to come through now in the physical more, where it's not hidden. See, because many of us will now be moving to a space with others to explain what's happening, where they're more open and receptive. So these heart chakra activations is to allow other beings to be open to what's coming through on earth, because now that their eyes are open, the physical eye is open, what they see now in that disruptive energy, that they see people for who they really are, that they see where they have placed value in themselves and value in others, to those who felt like they didn't need to participate in the politics, but the politics is the foundation. That foundation itself is what brings you to the place where we are and have been with others. That's why we've come back over and over and over again. So those who want to talk about their conscious and woke, well, there's another layer of conscious and woke. Okay. For our people, for my people of color, especially the black men out there, connect to your sacred feminine. Connect to your heart. Heal the mother wounds. Heal the part of yourself that has felt abandoned. Heal the part of yourself that feels that the only way that you can feel empowered is through information and knowledge, that empowerment itself is not going to work in that box that you keep it in. The empowerment is going to be from where and how you're connecting to your heart, and how you're connecting to the intuition, how you're connecting to the honor of the sacred feminine, because what's going to happen is the information is going to disappear. It's going to disappear somehow. It could either be a memory loss. It could be the physical things gone, just disappear. And you're left in that corner where you have to face yourself. You see? So some may have to face it in jail. Some may have to face it having to move into a relative's house that you didn't want to be in because you got to move and you have nowhere else to go. God is at hand here. Source Creator is moving things along. There is no exception for anyone. No matter what title you have, no matter how much money you have, no matter how many houses you have, no matter how many women you have, no matter how many possessions you have, no matter how much jobs you have, and you think that builds up something for you, it's going to be taken. It's going to be shifted if it's not taken. Something is stirring up in you to make a change, to make some type of acknowledgement of spirit, because spirit matter and physical matter is what's at hand here. That's where the marriage is taking place. For those who are in the wounded toxic feminine's place, or the parts of themselves that you're in fear, or you're feeling that your power is being taken away from you as well, do the same thing. Go back into that wounded space of what you are bypassing and what you don't want to look at, and what you feel that you want to be in control as well, and the codependencies that you may have on a man, or what you think that having a man or having something is what builds you up, or what gives you power. You know what I mean? Because when that's not there any longer, you have to now sit with yourself. A lot of you are gonna have to start sitting with yourselves. A lot of you are gonna have to start digging in, and eventually then finally acknowledge the light, and acknowledge Source Creator, and acknowledge the higher power. You see that we are gods and goddesses of the earth, but there is still a higher energy involved here. And all that manipulation stuff is going to go away. And those who hold all the power because of how much people you have in your circle, subscribers, friends, that shit is not going to work anymore. That's also going to start disappearing, because other people are waking up to what the truth is, and they're no longer going to attach to you. And where is your power? Because that is where it comes in again with Trump, is that his power is only based on the popularity that he feels that he can have by forcing someone to put him in that power. And even though there is still no decision that's being made right now, and there's the electoral college numbers are still the same, but the popular votes are still there. And yes, the popular votes are there because the voice of the people is that they've had enough. That's what it is. So the popular vote is not necessarily because they love Biden. Is the popular vote is based on the fact that we're choosing and desiring change. And those of you who say change can't come through him because of his past, or Kamala, then you're fooling yourself, because there's that structure still remains. So common sense, ding, 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 ding. We work with what is at hand now to bring the blood clot change. It's not going to magically appear out of the sky, because we have to work within ourselves to heal the wounds and the pain of what happened when we were dishonored. When you work through that pain, then you will see the bigger picture. But you have to start to work from the wound itself, so you see the bigger picture, to what there is to receive and what we work with until it moves in the layers of how it works with families and how it works with each and every one of us. Because let me tell you something. When I walk outside, I'm not alone. May have neighbors, may have people there, and they're all different types in it. May have Jewish, may have black, may have Mexican, may have Haitian people around, may have Jamaican, may have white people, may have Trump sign down the block, may have this one over this side. So what do you think? You think it's just gonna go away just like that? We still gotta work through this shit like this, honey bunch. So that means the reality is in the physical 3D reality. We can't just be floating in the air and say, oh, God is gonna just change it. No, God brought you here. You brought yourself here. You volunteered, regardless of the category, to bring change. And that change means that as we work through the layers, we work through the layers of consciousness to what must be transforming as we're recreating that new structure and rebuilding the foundation of the Christ through the honor that we place on the ancestors, the honor we place on ourselves, that women will now start to move through the womb chakra, the sacral chakra, the uterus. You're working through the throat, okay? If you have any type of illnesses that shows up in your body because of what you stored within yourself, that you don't put power into a man that has money or a man that's in power because of title, because that's where you're descending. And regardless of whatever color of your skin, that you also give honor to the Black woman, that you give honor to the originals, that those of us who, if you are even of one particular color of skin or whatever, that you ask yourself, how am I attracting this to myself, and where does it place me if that is no longer there? Then who are you? You're nothing, because you're just attached to something that's the illusion of what you think power is. And so those who don't understand what true power is, they try to keep you tied down and pulled down into power is in, how many people are following me, or how many people like me and all that stuff. No, power is when you take responsibility and you are in integrity and taking that accountability of what is fair for yourself and for others. That even if it means that you have done something in the past that affected you and someone else that was not of the highest vibration, that we don't place the judgment, but we're taking the chance now and the time to correct it. That is what Saturn in Capricorn is doing for you. You see? The wounds of those who are Spanish and the ones that felt that they had to vote for Trump, look at yourself and where you place yourself in what you believe the triggers are, that someone who's in power that tells you a word or a name that you're triggered to vote for someone else, where you're not looking at the wounds of where you have given of yourself in that enslavement cycle just as much as, and to me, Spanish people, it's still a part of the color scheme, it's still in the same boat, the same thing. And the white women that vote 55% for Trump, that bypass, that still choose not to look at the wounds that you have within yourself, that the power you have is to put a black man down, to put them in jail, to call on them. You want to sleep with them, you want to get the black dick, but then you still want to be in power what you can have to lie and to not take accountability. See? And I'm not talking about all white women. I'm talking about the ones who are still programmed and still in la fucking fantasy, that like to use the love and light words, that like to use the words of we're all one, but they still don't want to take accountability for how they like to use women of color, but don't give the honor and respect to the woman of color, because this identity that you want to have attached to a man that you feel gives you power. Well, that's also starting to slip away. Okay? That's how I'm going to break it down today. I'm breaking it down. Okay? Because enough is enough. Enough is enough. And then we do have the women of color, all spectrums of color, that have disempowered themselves because they feel that their identity is attached to someone else that tells them how they are identified. So it's no different than the men that also feel their identification is what they physically have. And so little girls are taught to hate themselves because of the color of their skin. We don't have to be idolized or get justification from someone else telling us that we are special, that we belong here. We don't have to go back to Africa, because guess what? Blood clot, we belong here because our ancestry was right here all along. Okay? It is through the feminine energy. It is the original energy of the Black woman that brings it, because we are the only ones that keep things together. Huh? Everyone is accepted in our homes and how we bring together. But I'm not talking the ones that are suppressed and the ones that want to pretend like they need justification from someone else, or one for Trump. And it's a small percentage, but it's still there, because there's that wound that you're carrying that you don't want to face. But it's time for the Black woman to take care of herself now. It's time for you to take care of yourself now. It's time to nurture yourself and build yourself up and be the queens that you are. And there's many of us who here as Black women that you may not be Black in this lifetime, but you were before, and you know that, and you remember that because you feel it within your DNA. The melanation of who we are is what's coming together. So that's why the reason why so many are so triggered by Kamala being the vice president. But there are some of us that get the gist, because guess what? That's all spirit just seeping her in. Just bringing her in. And I put the power and the light of protection around her and Biden. Because guess what? No one can tear apart what is meant to be. And as we move together as sisters in the Christ, that's what's molding to make things happen. And I pay attention to how each individual is speaking. Are they referring to what they're bringing as change, and they're acknowledging their own expressions and acknowledging and allowing themselves to be vulnerable in what happened before, or are they still bypassing? That's your clue. Because I know all the bypassers that I'm connected to. I'm watching. You think me a dummy? We watching them. Me watch and pay attention. And I'm not afraid to speak the truth. Okay? I'm not afraid to speak the truth. I will speak the truth. And I will forever speak the truth no matter what. Because you know what? It make me sleep good at nighttime or daytime or whatever. Because sometimes what's happening now is that people are afraid to speak the truth and afraid to tell somebody like it is. Because they're afraid to say it. Don't be afraid. Tell them the truth. Tell the bypassers. Tell the ones. I've had several white women that contact me. I help them, and they don't give me the honor. I know who they are. You know who you are. Don't give the honor and respect. But then they try to steal the information and try to act like as if they're the ones that made it up. You see? But it's just coming back to you. That's all it is. You see? And it's that same thing like what happened when they told on Emil that was bludgeoned and called on so many people of color and women of color that their babies were ripped out of their stomach. And I think about my Native American tribe that I'm on the lands right now. I'm on the sacred land. And my son Damon told me yesterday that the highest rate of people that voted for Trump was right here in Rockland County where I live. Go fucking figure. So I said to him, I said, well, where's that? He said Spring Valley. So Spring Valley is about 15, 20 minutes away from me. So you know what Spring Valley represents? You have Spanish, Haitian, especially Jewish people, Jewish men and women. What do you think that means? They connect to power over keeping their businesses and their companies and their money. Fuck the people, fuck money. They use money to get the benefits out of the counties, but they don't want to give. They like to take, but they don't like to give. So fuck people who need food and shelter. They want to focus on which state have Democrat and who's homeless. Fuck y'all motherfuckers. Tired of y'all asses with your lying, cheating ass self trying to justify why you should keep doing what you doing. Because nobody ain't calling out your asses. Huh? Because you want to wrap it around, oh, it's my religion. Oh, it's religion for you for this, but it's not religion for you for that. And then you have the spiritual community people talk about, oh, we shouldn't talk about that because that's not spiritual. Shut the entire fuck up again. Because guess what? Game over. Oh, this is communism. This is socialism. Oh, I'm a this, I'm a that. I have this title. Shut the entire fuck again up. Because nobody's going to buy the rhetoric. It is over. If you're still not moving in that space of integrity, and it's interesting how people who witness this and have them in power, they go along with it and allow it to happen, knowing that women are also facing the most disparity, the most disparity because we have children to take care of, and then they try to use it and say we're trying to take from the government, but then if they form a corporation, that's okay. Because as long as the field workers go out, why women have the highest amount of cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, emotional breakdowns, because they have to take care of their children, then they're separated from their husbands, spouses, or they're not with their baby fathers. They have more baby fathers and things. So the structure continues on and on. Let me work them. Open up your legs, go have more children, and then some go in the system, abuse the system, and then the system doesn't want to help those who really need the help because they base it on a disparity of whether you do have money and how you do it. So people just continue with the lies and the stealing and the cheating and this, and then when you're being honest, then they don't want to help you, but they're helping the ones who are still cheating and lying and stealing. And you want to say that we shouldn't be involved in the government? Let me tell you something. The same fucking government is the one that turned off my light for $10. Okay? $10 fucking dollars. Did you hear me? $10 fucking dollars. And I begged the man, please do not turn off my light. I have children in the house. He said, ma'am, he's trying to avoid me. He's like, ma'am, sorry, I have to do this because we are trained. We are trained. That's what he said. They go to training class. We are trained to turn off the light and not to have a heart. Those were the words he used. We're trained to not have a heart. So in other words, they teach them to be cold ass motherfuckers, to be cold and calculating. They teach them not to have a heart so they don't feel the pain. They don't feel what can happen to the children. They don't feel what happens to the mother, that she feels stress. So we have to deal with a lot of things in this nation and around the world and really pay attention to, does this represent my humanity? Am I going to bypass that shit? Like, oh, if my sister's going through this, oh, fuck it. It ain't me. It's not me. I'm not black. So why should I worry about it? Huh? And that's why I know that my colored people, I know your pain. I know that it is difficult to feel safe in a nation that has let us down. It's painful to feel safe when someone says founding fathers and when they say, oh, we don't belong here, because it brings us back to the wound of when we were being taken advantage of and we felt like no one else was there to take up for us and no one was there to honor the sacred feminine that comes through from the black mother. Now I know why I got a black car. I was like, oh, I don't want to get a black car because, you know, that wasn't the program, because that's the trick. Tricks are for motherfucking kids. So the black car, the blackness, everything black. Don't say you're black. You know, you're brown. Oh, don't say you're brown. Say you're black. See, that's the kind of foolishness me talk about. Because they want you to stay divided. That you argue over the fucking label and the name. Huh? Where does it take us? Nowhere. You stay in that space of how am I supposed to identify myself? Identify yourself as the I am presence. That's it. I am. Don't allow yourself to get involved with somebody say, oh, don't say this, you're not this. Oh, does that. I told that to my son too. I was like, I don't want to hear it. Because you know what? It takes away the purpose of why I'm here. And that's why I don't attach to what other motherfuckers want to talk about. Oh, you're not woke. Oh, you're not conscious. Oh, this and that. Yeah, stay right where you at then, okay? Because let me tell you something. Some of the things that I have had to achieve for myself and to get, do you think it was based on because I'm doing things the normal way? Hell to the no. So the same man cut off my life for $10 that he couldn't say to himself, damn, this shit is fucked up. I should just pay for this shit. They don't hire any women. They hire men. I'm not bashing men. I just want you men to take a real hard look at yourselves. And I'm only talking about the ones, and every one of you, anyway, because it goes in layers. The spiral of consciousness and how we connect to one another is what we have to look at, you know? And being in the awareness of knowing who are the clones, who are the ones that just will never give a fuck, and the mere fact that the ones who don't give a fuck and the ones who are the clones, that they're not even significant anymore, okay? To me, they're like a speck. They're like a speck. Stay focused. Stay focused. We're rebuilding our communities. We're allowing for our Black men to heal. We're allowing for the Black women to heal. We must focus on that too. And I'm grateful for my sisters who are not necessarily of color, but they overstand. They don't take offense to us talking about this, because it's time for us to keep talking about this. It's time for us to address things. It's time for us to hold ourselves accountable and to hold those accountable for what must change that affects our communities, that affects our children's lives, our safety. Being able to feel safe to walk and roam the earth. Being able to feel safe again, that we can move into neighborhoods. We don't have to worry about a motherfucker saying, oh, she Black, oh, she don't belong here. Shut the fuck up again with that shit. That we work together and stop trying to tell and look at somebody and judge them when you don't know them, because it's there. You know, they say, don't tell me who you are by what you see, but what you say. I want to see you from your heart. And how you reveal thyself. How you reveal thyself. That's what I want to see. So you can talk and talk and talk. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to let this out. A lot of times, you know, when people send me friend requests, I'm like, guess what? Me done look upon you already and check you out. You know, I want to see where your heart coming from. You know, I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to hear your voice. I tap in. See? That's what I do. And I'm not going to discriminate too. And watch us see what happens. Because you see, the ones who start following and they unfollow, I say it's okay. Because, you know, when our light shines bright, okay, it's an internal light. It cannot be duplicated. It cannot be measured. It cannot be, you know, they can't, no matter what they think they can do. Because even the idiot, they want to make melanin and all this. So fuck off. Okay? Because it's not happening. You can't make melanin, you dummies. That's something that comes from the spirit before you incarnate in the body. That's how they think they're so clever and smart, because they think they can be scientists. Everything is scientific. Oh, I gotta go put this formula together. You're dumb, because it's not working anymore. Everything that anyone is trying to do in deception or deceptive energy or trying to duplicate and proclamate and steal, you're getting busted. You're busted. It reveals itself. Why do you think every time when Trump tries something, he gets busted? Huh? The motherfucker gets busted. I would never, in my right mind, give him any honor to call him president. Titles is something that man makes up. It's a man-made construct to make them believe illusionary that they deserve it because they made it up. No, motherfucker. You are not a president. You are not entitled to women's pussies. The Mexicans, the Haitians, the Jamaicans, the Africans, the Indonesians, whatever bomba clot, okay? Everybody come from some part or something from the Black woman. So I suggest everybody, whoever you are that hears this, go do your DNA. You'll be surprised. You might see some blackness in there. Because you can't run away from that motherfucker. But then again, some of you might not even be connected to that because you were cloned. You know? Soulless and cloned. And it's not something that you can get, you know, just like that. You can't buy it. You can't steal it. You can't make it up in a formula. It is just not gonna motherfucking work anymore. Any one of you trying to put plots out there, you see? Every time I remember that Jamaican song, boy, them a plot against I and I. But guess what? You're not gonna go more forward with that. You see? Because you know what? More people's eyes are open. And so you don't know who's who. You know, that's a beautiful thing, you know. People think that because, you know, if somebody black that, ooh, they're all for you. No. There's some clone black ones too. Okay? 5:10 a.m. I had my sleep anyway. I slept for hours, man. Oh my God. I woke up, had the TV on, looked at the score, whatever you call it. It's like we're watching a football game. I don't watch football, but that's what it's like. It's like you're like, oh shit, what is it now? Oops, same number, 253, 213. And that's spirit. Spirit is allowing us to take a pause, right? Because I'm keeping it real. I'm not gonna act like as if this don't matter right now. This shit matters more than anything else. This is my watch night. This is my church. This is my foundation. This is my time of how I'm communing with divine source creator, with those who probably couldn't sleep or can't sleep, or you just awoke or you didn't wake, or you're getting sleepy but you're waking now. Because when it comes to the spirit of the Lord and the Christ and the consciousness, guess what? This is the greatest food we could ever have. When we bring in the truth and we penetrate in the truth and we don't run from it, and we face the facts. We face the facts. We face ourselves. You see? That even if you feel you don't agree, it's okay. You don't have to agree. Just come back next time and see how you feel. Or you don't. Because you know what? It's going to be revealed to you anyway. If you see it though. Because not everybody wants to see. But guess what? Woo! I know that this see thing is making everybody see now. Seen a lot of things just starting to unravel. Really seeing things. You know, I trust spirit so much that I can't begin to tell you how many people have come my way that I thought was going to be a part of the book. I thought was going to be a part of doing a show. I thought they were going to be assisting with Charlize getting going with her stuff. And it just fall right off the radar. Yippity-doo. Fall right off. I'm okay with it. Because I am in alignment with source. I don't force anything. We don't force the lotus to come up. We don't force the flower to come up. It comes through on its own. You see? That's power. It's a power I have where I'm humble and I'm still powerful. You see? I ain't here to convince nobody. We're here as a blessed time and a moment of where we honor who we are, and we give honor to the higher power, and we give honor to those who are connecting to us, because that's what makes up the tribe. They cannot understand or understand what we are working with here. And it's not our job to explain. You don't need to explain yourself. I look at it as I'm collaborating. I'm talking with my brothers and sisters who choose. You see? And some say, yeah, choose, and they run. And it's okay. Because you see, it's for them to meet me where I'm at. I'm not meeting you down anymore. I'm not. That's the trick. It's another trick. Oh, come on, you gotta come to church. Oh, you gotta come over here. Oh, we gotta come and do a spiritual dance together. No, motherfucker, we are not equally yoked with that any longer. We're not. So when people want to talk about their what their freedom or rights represent because they're still in religion, and it's nothing against religion, but it's a foundation, it's a structure too. Yes, it is. Seek to know. Dig deeper. Like I said, can't unlearn what you know. And then you have those that conform to all the other things that existed in the past, and it's not working. It's not working. And so what they do, they change it another name, and they change it to another structure, and then they try to twist it up and twist it around. It's not working. It's disintegrating. It's like whoosh. That's it. That's what the energy is showing right now. And that's why it is to our advantage to be empowered, feel empowered, be in peace, be in that strength that you think you have never had before. See? And it comes from deep within the gut. Okay? That's where it comes through from. Don't give a flying fuck if they say, oh, she sounds so angry. I don't give a fuck. I'm angry and happy at the same time, motherfucker. That's right. I'll be both at the same time. I'm too loud for you? You don't have to come over in my lane. Shit. All I know is I know what worked for, because you know what? My auric field says you can't play me. You can't trick me any longer. I will not conform to your rhetoric. Okay? I cannot and will not be duped, because I am divinely protected. I am always protected. And this is where you keep that that's a foundation too as well. And you don't have to repeat it over and over again. Oh God, please help me. Please protect me. No, you have that element, and you know that your soul will guide you to where you are to be. That whoever comes into your frequency that is of the highest intention, that they come into that energy towards you with the highest of intention for you. And whoever is not, they are not able to come near to you. They're not able to communicate with you. They have to stay at the far distance now. Have you noticed that happening around you? Like, you notice that some people they fall off the radar. They're still connected to you a little bit, but the energy feels they can't come near you because their vibration is not matching to where you're at. So it's repulsive for them. It's too much for them. It hurts them. And that's the reason why Spirit always told me years ago why many of us were not in our sacred divine unions as yet physically, because a specific layer of people with a certain type of consciousness have to be elevated and raised, because if we were to come together too soon, we'd start fragmenting some more, and it will also kill others. They would disappear. Okay? And it doesn't mean that we have to have like millions of people that are enlightened, or it's not based on that. It just has to do, yes, love is the different frequencies, and what's happening, it's moving up and down. But everything, I give thanks. I give thanks for this election. I am telling you, it is amplifying what is moving in that layer of what is bringing our sacred union path. And what I see, again, they say the first shall be last and the last shall be first. That we move in that rotation cycle of the abundance that's coming for us, the abundance that's beginning. Okay? If you are guided to go to a specific location and you feel, I don't have this, I don't have that, go into the system and contact the system, contact your local region and get assistance. Do not base that energy from other people that it's only when you're connecting to, because right now there's so many broken souls right now. Think about the time when we existed, where we go to work or we go to school and we're all busy intermingling with one another, and we didn't realize how much brokenness is within each and every one of us. How much pain, how much wounds. And that's what we've been interacting with and counteracting with for centuries. But now that we're aware of what we are seeing outside and inside, we're able to take that accountability in how we're mastering ourselves and navigating with what we're looking for in what is the best at in each and every given moment. Because that's why it's important and imperative to stay present and to stay in the now. Because when you stay in the now, your soul is saying, you can feel it within your soul, because it's like a compass, and you feel it. It's like, you're like, nope, this doesn't feel right. Nope, I want to do this. Nope, I'm gonna go here. Because even yesterday I was invited to go to a function to go with Charlize, and she was gonna perform and stuff like that. And I was looking forward to it. But my eye felt was irritating me. I was so exhausted because I didn't go to sleep till I think 12 o'clock the next day. So my body is just pushing. I was still like all day day before, constantly urinating. And I was just processing. And Stacy was kind enough. She said to me, Sharon, you're processing through fear. There's fear. And that fear itself, I understood where it was coming from. I knew how it was tied to Rondi. And if any of you remember that time when my phone had called him and I said that I felt this anger coming through from him, because the anger was connecting to the past when I chose to stick with helping people than choosing myself and being with him. And he went off to wars at the time, or whatever we were trying to do together separately in terms of the people. And I had several dreams, and it looks like as if we were in a country where it was in Africa, but I don't know which country in Africa. And because we were very, very dark skinned, and that time we were together, and every time there was an interruption of people coming through the door, through the window. So that in and of itself was a memory that I have that was imprinted within my soul when I allowed my sacred space to be invaded on. So that sacred space itself is not subjected to just the invasion of the Columbuses and all that stuff. That's just another version, another element of invasion. We have different types of invasions. We have invasions of when everyone's calling you at the same time and you're like, oh my God, should I take all these calls? That's an invasion in a way. Or when you're talking and all of a sudden someone's interrupting you, that's that energy where you feel like, and what it's showing you is, am I going to create that boundary? Where are my boundaries? Where are my boundaries? Where am I going to create consciously to not have myself invaded on? Where someone is not impeding on my relationship or with my children, where we even place boundaries as mothers with our children too. Place those boundaries. It's the same thing, but it's just described differently, you know? And where we finding moments where we sit with ourselves and we're not doing anything, or we take that time to rest, or that even if you feel you're going to do something, because that's what I felt. I was like, I don't feel like going anywhere. I feel like I'm just like, well, I mean, when I did my numerology chart for this whole year 2020, it said that for me in Aquarius, my sun in Aquarius, my moon in Pisces, my rising in Taurus, that I was going to be more cocooned. And that's why I knew when I wasn't doing any lives or anything, I knew that I was going through a whole big cycle of integration. I knew that I had to allow myself to work through the fragmented parts of myself, and all these eclipses for the year. And I knew that this whole year was what I was mastering through on the masculine side, connected to Rondi and connected to Colin, because it's like everything that moved in from the Jupiter, Saturn in the early part of the year, when my uncle transitioned on January 1st, on my grandmother's birthday. She was Capricorn. My mother was Capricorn. I have two aunts that were Capricorn. All those females are on the other side, you know. My grandmother traced the ancestry with my grandmother to the Yoruba tribe in Nigeria. And then I also have the Nigerian connection to my grandmother on my mother's side. Then come to find out my great grandfather, it's not even a lineage going 3 generations back. This is just 2 generations. I did not know that he was Caucasian. I'm not saying that as anything that I'm against. I'm just saying, wow, you know, it's like, it makes a difference when you know what we are working with here. What are we moving through in these cycles of what is shifting through our ancestry? Because when you're ascending, as you are ascending, so are your ancestors. They are ascending too. And so when they're assisting you, don't look at it as if they have more, that they are processing better or greater than you. They're actually admiring you. Oh, I see 2 when I say that. They're admiring you in how you are assisting them as well, because it's going both ways. The physical body that you have is creating the transformation. You see, so whatever it is that's an energy, whatever it is that has been an energy that's there, it's just there. But we got to mold with that energy. We got to move and do something with that energy. And that's the reason why the physical body is a foundation. The foundation itself represents something physical. That's why I knew that as much as I stay floating in thoughts, and I'm having all these wonderful feelings as my Venus is in Pisces, and how I believe in that element of love and all of that stuff is still there. But now the grounding of that love means I am releasing and transmuting out everything that's sustained on the earth. See, it's sustained on the earth. So you look at where that is for you in your elements of Capricorn, the structures within your life. You know, the way I grew up in my foundation with my family may not be the same as yours, but there's still a principle of, you know, especially in Black people family, like we just don't give a fuck. It's like we'll just make everything a celebration and a party. You know, like just four of us in a room, and we put on the music and we just start to dance, and we just do this, and we cook up a storm and all that stuff. And you know, I think about the movie Soul Food with Vanessa Williams and the actors and actresses, and what was portrayed, that the food was the heart of how we come together, right? And the foundation of family. Sundays, I told my daughter how I remember when my mother used to make Sunday days, I had to grate to the coconut, and if it's strain the coconut, and if it's salt the peas. And I didn't even go to that stage, because after a while they started making the coconut water, so just throw it in the pot with the peas after the peas boil, and boom, now we're at the point where you can get the peas that's in the box, just add the water, put a little butter in there, put a little coconut milk in there, and you're done. And so it just moves through these cycles and changes of culture. And you know how exciting I've had where I've gone to my Mexican friend party, what do you call it, baby shower, and being able to hit the piñata and have fun with that expression. And I go to my this lady, she's like a mother to me, and her children, now she transitioned, and her children, and I go to they're like family to me, and they're Spanish, and I like to get my arroz con pollo. And then I love when I go to certain restaurants where I get the food. See, that is culture. That is a part of what brings us joy. See, that foundation itself is what had been broken. That invasion itself is telling us that we don't need that we need to work towards what we build as a family, you know, and what's handed down to us. Well, how about what was given to us through the divine is what brings us that greater expansion and abundance. And that's where Jupiter is coming in for us, right? But first, we must go through that rebirth cycle. We must go through the rebirth of the things that have kept us trapped. It's like that movie with what's his name, where he was just trapped in the body, and that's not the foundation of who you really are, because we're here to bring on the expressions of the higher consciousness of self. And so it goes sometimes against the principles of the physical part of self with what it knows from the ancestry. And so it doesn't mean we're eradicating our culture. We're just transforming and adding more and bringing in more of the merge and the marriage of this consciousness, right? And what it means to build that foundation and rebuild that foundation, the element of relationships and connections, and our children and their freedom and their passion too, and our own passion, that we know when that time comes to nurture ourselves and to connect with our children and communicate with one another, and how we're communicating with one another, where we're feeling ourselves within our hearts and our souls, and that we take that time to know when it's time to say no and it's time to cut that time off, that you do that. You know, so that way we don't fragment, that we don't separate ourselves again by not honoring ourselves. And those who are not honoring us, that you first take that accountability. You first take that accountability. Because again, I go back to that saying, don't be no who for frightened. Like, the energy itself will come for you with how that receptivity is within you. Because it cannot and will not and cannot come in over to your side any longer as you work through it when you are in that full power. Full power does not come in automatically because of how much programming has been running in that background, deep in that background. And the energy of that background, it spirals. It's like a little dot in the center, and then it spirals like a loop, like a coil, and it works its way up through the coil, and it works its way down through the coil. And this is the part of the ascension and descension. Descension doesn't mean it's wrong, and it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just the part of ourselves that becomes heavy in the thought and what shows up as physical, and then the center of that physical point also moves outwardly, through the navel. That's another center. So it moves up and down, and it moves from side to side too. I'm over here, and I'm here too. I'm in all these different multi-layers and multi-dimensional space of who I am, where pockets of energy has existed, where I split. And so as we bring all the little split fragmentation parts of ourselves together, and it's solid again, so the solidification of that energy itself is what it's like a spark. That's what it is. It's like a spark of you. And when that part of you has a spark, now think about this, right? You have a spark that shows up in your eyes, right? Because the eyes is the window to the soul. And you think about food, and you think about love, and you see someone, and you see this love and how it shows up in that spectrum. And then the eyes are filled with what? With that light and that love. It glows. And then when you are free and the light is coming through the throat and it glows, and then what happens? It's like another feeling of that freedom, right? And it shines through, and everything that is expressed out, it bursts like eating and like something sour, and it just tingles, and you could feel it coming through your ears. And that's why they said, when it comes to ENT, whatever you take in with what you eat, it can come out of your nose if you're choking or something, because it all connects. The ears and the nose and the throat, right? So that's that part of you that also can work to the particle of your heart. That when the heart is shining, and when the heart is bright, and the heart is patient, if that information itself is blocked because you haven't healed the wound, because if you allowed someone to, some males, their heart is blocked because they're in fear of their vulnerability. They're in fear of losing a power that was based on an illusion, okay? Because their foundation is that I got to take care of mommy and this one and that one, and have all these responsibilities, but then they're not taught to nurture themselves and take responsibility for their personal personal freedom, and what they can also experience that becomes lighthearted for them. You see? So if the throat is blocked and the heart is blocked, and then the inner child is suppressed, and then if they're expressing themselves, there's the feeling of fear, that the throat is blocked, and the feeling of fear is, what will someone say? And they hold on to the traditional trauma bond. So you have the traditional trauma bond that's connected to the throat, that's connected to the heart, and that's connected to the solar plexus, where they work hard, because you talk about physical labor and the physical part of the body. And so their realm is physical. So anything else that's not physical is a fear. And so that fear itself blocks off all the chakras, and they're not able to see the feminine within them to connect to their true feminine. So that's the reason why everything that's happening now has to break through the old structures and the old foundations of what has kept them trapped. Because, they can be looking for all the external things that can make them happy, because that's what comes from the false God concept, the false light. That light that says, oh, I'll set you free. All you need to do is just have all this money. You need to have all of this. You can have all of that. I can give you the world. I can give you this. That's the temptation. That's the temptation. And so this is now, can I really create with intention and purpose? But it means that you're going to lose all of that structure and foundation that you had. And then the rebuilt time is that you are now reactivated the essence of the Christ within, where you have the power first, and then you attract the wealth, which is everything. That's everything together. It's not broken into pieces and separated. You see? So that's why there's that saying that when you are filled up with the light, then all things shall be added unto you. So saith the Christ. Yes, that's the difference. So anyway, I know that is a lot of information. I felt like it's like a roller coaster, and it's not going up and down. It's just sailing through, and it feels high and it feels grounded at the same time. So it's like I'm here physically with the energy and how it feels heavy, and I'm not associating heaviness with being negative, because I know a lot of times some of these spiritual teachers feel like if you're in heaviness, then you're not in your spiritual essence. But I tell you this again, we're here in the physical body to bring in the essence of the embodiment of the Christ and what it feels like first, what it feels like within the cells of your body. And that embodying the Christ means that we're moving through the trenches, that we're going deep into the core of earth and the souls that have been there, and the soul of Mother Earth in what she has held onto with the souls of her children that have been crying for centuries, that have been deprived, that we've gone into separation, that have lost their way and is still feeling lost and feeling detracted or not worthy. You know what I mean? Because all of that is just that false programming that tells you that you have to work towards the common goal of what you can receive, that you need to work towards being good so that way God will accept you into the light. And then it's wrapped in and trapped in that entrapment of religion, is especially a lot with, with our Black folks and our people of color, Spanish too. It's like all of that whole category, and it all had to do with the control of how much one has, and that those who are below the people are to stay in another category of structure of marriage and a structure of school, what's paid for, what you can get and receive when you do something, reward and punishment. You can't be powerful and you have to let me make the choices for you and the decisions for you. And that's when you become successful. That's when you are loved and liked and accepted. It's not accepted when you're in your magic. It's not accepted when you're in your power. And the power of the pairs is that what you're doing together is sorcery and it is blasphemous, and there's jealousy. How dare you try to do this without my permission or whatever, So that's just kind of the gist of all of this, That's the gist of what has happened in other timelines. Okay? So whatever you feel, whatever you hear, whatever is pulled in your direction, know that that's where we're at that nearing that conjunction point. And don't try not to tie it to a date. Just look at it that it's in the present moment of now. Everything pulsating through with the election and the decisions and whatever, it's all a part of that process of where it's taking you to the Christ. So those who tell you to stay away from it, I advise you not to. And the reason is because that's what is helping you and assisting you in that deeper, how do I say it? It's like, how do I say that? It's like pockets of messages, pockets of the activations that are coming through that experience. Yeah. Okay. It's just that it's a different name now in 2020. Okay. So 2020 represents what is needed to get us to the rebuilding of this foundation. We already know who said what they're going to do, right? So I don't have to say it now, because there's certain things that we don't say, because sometimes you can't let them know ahead of time what's up, and so we already know what's coming. We already know what's being built. So keep your eyes on the foundation of what we're recreating, and that things will start to flow to you in its perfect divine energy and time of what we are receiving. Okay? Nothing, no one can take away what is moving in the layers of this sacred union, time and space, okay, which is daily, hourly, secondly, small and large, okay? Everything and all things alive with you. Keep it close, keep it, flowers, plants, the green liquids that I mentioned before, the sea salt baths, everything that you're connected, because that's why they don't want many of us to go back to nature and natural things. They want us to go into the medicinal things and pharmaceutical things and this, that, whatnot, because that's also plays a part of the tricks to alter the DNA. Okay, so again, we are protected and we're shown where it comes into play. Okay, you don't have to experience rioting and all them kind of stuff if you do not choose. However someone wants to pump that shit in their reality, and if you receive it and believe it to be true, then so shall you receive it. Okay, so however someone else's world is, that is their foundation. Those of us in the collective consciousness of the new foundation of the Christ within, and how we are connecting to it's such shown on earth, and we represent the foundation with how we work with those in government and education and regions within the community and outside of the community. We are the ones that are in place to where we are connecting for these for this new earth to be implemented. Okay, working with doctors who will also work with the well-being emotionally and mental disorders that exist with young Black men and females and mothers and children. All of this is coming together, all of it, because when we get to the root of the matter instead of just the band-aids, that is much more powerful to set us all free. We can't be free if we're carrying all of the lower consciousness of pain and blocks, and also at the same time trying to create the freedom. Freedom comes from what we're able to look at and what we're able to see within ourselves first. And that's what I know to be true. And I've been burning through it, like being in like, I don't know, it's like one of the things where it's just burning through it, and it's like ashes and and that's how I feel. And that's why I'm not surprised my skin was just breaking out, just feeling that it was just like burning. My eyes was burning. And I'm like, okay. So whatever toxicity that was in my within my body with whatever, because I don't have to know the details of what experience was it. I know that it's connected to government. It's connected to that, because the same energy that shut off my light, the same energy that I faced evictions, the same energy that the split occurred with my children and my home life disruptive and excuse me, and separated. That's the same system that's going to bring us not that that's what it takes to bring us together, because I'm already in such a different harmony with my children, harmony with my beloved, even if we're not in the same physical space, because I can feel it moving through the layers. It's moving through the layers, and the foundation itself is being recreated. Okay, it's just that we work through the whatever fears that one may have, that what if I come back together and then something split us apart, and it's like working through that wound and working through the fear of it happening again, or the fear of feeling rejected, of that trigger that can come if what if it does fall apart again. And that's why we work through the layers of where it came from, and that way now you're not feeling that trigger as if someone is going to take from us again. And you can feel it in your solar plexus if it feels like someone is taking from you, or it may happen again, or what if this and what if that, you know what I mean? And that is what pulls us apart from the things that is trying to connect. It's like a push and a pull, and a push and a pull. And it's being able to trust, to be able to trust the direction that you're being taken from your soul, if it feels like it's pulling away from you, because it's just to heal that pocket of pain, so you can now feel free again. You know what I mean? You said you've been crying for 2 weeks straight. Oh, I know. It is very emotional. I mean, I haven't cried with the timing. I remember I had so much purging from 2000. Ooh, was it 2017, that eclipse in Aquarius, Leo, all the way to 2019, what I went through, for those of you who remember. And I get it. I know. So it's different types of purging. You might be purging pain from things that you lose. And then there's also the layer of purging that you may have, that it's more like it's unconscious, and you feel these things that are coming through your skin and your body, and it may not necessarily be tied to pain. Okay, you might have things feeling nauseated. So it's all in different instances. Like right now, my nose is getting stuffy. So again, it's something that's pushing through, it's coming out. With everything that I'm talking about. So it's very, very, it's a very significant time with how your body will be responding, feeling hot, cold. That's also a part of the process of this alchemy, and that old energy that existed that was a block as well, So, for those, again, that are the true twin path, the recreation and the foundation of our sacred paths being seen, heard, felt, not to be afraid of our presence, okay? And even if one doesn't even understand what it means, that what I'm hearing coming from source is that we do not have to be understood what it means, because it's going to be felt. Okay? Yeah, it's going to be felt. So again, it comes back to the heart, the wisdom of the heart. Greetings, Jennifer. The feelings of the heart, thank you, Emulator. Yes. So I'm going to just say a little, just to be still for a few seconds. I'll drink water too. I don't know what I'm gonna do. 1 second. Uno momento. This is the time that we work with the energies. And that's what I'm being told. 1 minute. Okay, so I'm being guided to do just a little sound healing. It's also connecting the higher octaves of codes within us that's on here, okay? It's amazing. It's like the bowl was communicating. It's like a communication. All those who are just in gratitude for us here on this morning and what we are co-creating. Just take deep breaths and in and release out. Inhale again. And release out. The date, the time, the space continuum. We're in this moment of now. We're in this moment of clarity. We're in this moment of wisdom. We're in this moment of what moves into the unification field of what we represent and the value we place on ourselves. and with others. We're in gratitude for what we see and what we don't see. What we're able to merge and to bring together in the true marriage of the Spirit, the true marriage of the Christ, the honor that we place on ourselves and how we place on others. That everything that flows through every single cell of our body, that anything that represents the opposite of what does not serve our highest purpose, that we acknowledge and we know what it means, and that we're able to bring that parts of ourselves that has kept us fragmented, that has been within us, those blocks, anything that has represented what has been outside of us, that is not seen as a block now, but that is seen as what is bringing clarity for us to bring ourselves back to wholesomeness again. And so it is. Kero sitato shiken bondo imme mo ida barago to sime ta shata konena mbe koke tokuni nambe do kunero nda didi kitune bon konde kimebe namdo kene namda be anene na ya ina anina na kitani ya no ninda ammo bode ande ya ka ne derane ammo iberando ya namdo nda ya no de ana ande ane we amde ando da ande 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 o ande na konde ande ana konde ande ande someday ande ande no ande oye ande That is just so incredible. I just felt this, like, whatever parts of ourselves that came through from the time I started speaking, that all the parts of self, the cells, what was in the memory and components of that, of the Native, it's all Native American. It's all this tribal energy that's integrating and just activating the chakras, because they're making me feel like they're grounding the interconnectivity, everything that's connecting through these portals of openings and closings, things that are moving to the center of the sacredness and the alchemy. And what's moving in the flow of everything that moves through integrity with what's happening on the earth in America. The eye may look like the eye of the storm, and the heart itself that's starting to open up the chakras to feel that interconnectivity of what you heard, what moves through the sound. Ndi beare botum de la kondia ndo sinchamo bebe amu di badam de kutishinde haunida ongida ida kongiambe hani te chaune ham de kinde de oitane udi ba duchilo kunirambe penuli ekianisa. I don't know, they're showing me the dates from the 9th to the 12th, the 9th through the 12th, wherever it is in the moon, and the sun is still in Scorpio, and wherever it is as far as the moon, they're showing me, and Venus, and it's like a significant timeline, so that represents 4 days, 9, 10, 11, 12. And whatever that will flow through with those days is significant for us. That represents the embodiment and the connection that we have with the Native American soil, the honor, and also who we are, what ties us to the sacred ground, the sacred body, the sacred codes that are going to start to flow through you, that came through from the sound and the sequence of the language and the dialect that was coming through. And they're making me feel like if you've been feeling more of the energy on the upper part of your body, that's where the recentering of that is flowing through for us. So they're making me feel like I'll be back on again to bring in the next layer of whatever happens within the next few days. So this connection that we're having at this time, that your soul led you to come on, because it's rare I come on at this time. It's just different. It's like, however, it's like the timing that that we connect. It's not everyone that's going to know. So those who are not to come in as an interference, or it's a protection around it, not a fear, just a protection. Okay. So that's what they're showing to me. It's and this is all masculine, because I'm just seeing all these male embodiments that I'm seeing, and they're all Indians. They're all native Indians that I'm seeing. They have feathers in their hair. One of them is dressed in white. Another one has like a brown, like a brownish mixture of colors. I talk coach down, remember I told Victor, we but still could not remember. Teacher need a motive and she's an institutional baby long but it's in I don't know, it's so weird, but it's like one of them is showing me a symbol. It may be a symbolism of drinking something. So if you find yourself drinking something that's in a bowl, that's like a soup or a water or a broth, it's like an energy of what you're taking in your body that is going, because that everything that we're working through in alchemy is its inner stuff, like whatever we're taking in physically and also energetically. So they're saying your soul would lead you to whatever it is that you're to take, whatever you're going to receive inwardly. And this is all coming through between now and when we come up to the 9th is Monday. So is that let me see. Is that a new moon? Oh, this will be a quarter moon. Okay, so then that'll be leading. And then the 11th then is, okay, so we have 11/11 on Wednesday. So those 4 days are they're just making me feel like there's something in the foundation that is coming through from the 9th up until to the 12th, okay? So I'm not hearing or seeing what it is. So it will reveal itself. And just listen to the inner guidance of when we connect again to what comes next. So they're not giving the whole entire picture. So that is the messages for today. 3 hours again. I'm doing better. So anyway, thank you so much for those who joined me from the time I started speaking or in between, the middle. It's okay. It's perfect just as it is. And if you're able to listen back on it on the replay, wherever you are, awesome. I do know and feel that the energy itself, that how it is presented, is that, remember that the tools that we are being given, it may appear as if it is not anything of value, but it is. Everything tied to what's happening in the energy fields going on with the election plays a very active role to do with our unions, okay? The union of everything, the union of all. The union of everything and the union of all. Everything else is secondary, okay? Unless it entails you taking care of your body and all that stuff. But any other functions, activities, this is it. And I'm not saying this is it, that this is all, they're all there is it. But you know what I mean. This is the time. This is what you've been waiting and asking and wondering when. It's now. And it's not everyone will understand the significance and the value of why this is important right now. You see? So again, I'm so grateful. So peace be with you throughout the rest of your Friday. And however, anything else that comes forward for you, if you receive any downloads or messages and all that stuff, just take note of it. Because remember, even though if you're not speaking with me at the same time now, we are all receiving the activation in and out within ourselves, okay? And even those who listen to this and they weren't on live with me at this moment, I'm still going to receive it, because there's nothing that can stop us or block the true love that comes through each and every one of us, no matter where we are located. So I send you lots of love and infinite blessings. I'm looking forward to when I hear from you guys and you tell me what's transpired for you, what has inspired you, what has moved you forward, what has elevated you, what has give you that extra nudge, push, or even if it is just that confirmation for yourself. I'm just expanded. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, what we put out there is what we're receiving. So keep receiving, keep receiving, keep receiving. And so it is. I say later.